That's it. We are live at long last. Sorry about that, chat room. It is the 27th, Thursday, the 27th of September 2018. It's my fault. I just lost an hour in there somewhere. So Crrow777 will be on very shortly. But we've been chit-chatting away, and Stan's been telling us some amazing stuff already. So on the panel so far, we have Astral, Patricia, Flat Earth Dude, and Stan.
Hey, Karen. Hey, Stan. Astral. Patricia.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Stan.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Any bendy water? Any bendy water?
No.
There was a comment on one of the messages about that, about bendy water.
Poncho's still waiting for bendy water, isn't he? Poncho Pete, I swear he's up to like 700 and something now.
It's like 7-6. But that's just his Poncho channel. Then he's got, the other channel was another like 700 days. So he's like 1,400 days, man, straight. That's crazy.
Bendy water. No bendy water.
Still looking for it. Haven't found it yet.
Have you seen any bendy water?
No. only in a wave form,
What about bendy air? Bendy clouds?
That's some weird clouds. Seen some straight line slate clouds,
Some chemtrails here today. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty clear here actually today. It's quite nice. The other day we got sprayed pretty good.
So the moon's up coming up on you right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's up now. It's getting up there.
What about 20 degrees, 30?
Yeah, about 20, I'd say.
Yeah, that seems right.
Looks lovely.
Yeah, I just watched it go down here a while back, a few hours ago. So I'll have to wait quite a bit longer to see it come up again.
Did you see what I was saying about the moon a minute ago?
Yeah, I kind of was tuning in. I was moving a few boxes. I was listening. I stopped and looked at the picture. Why don't you go ahead and repeat that? Is that now that I'm just standing here, I can really. I can refocus here.
What we've all been doing, well, all of over hundreds for a few years now, a couple of years or so since we got them. We've been recording the moon in this manner every time it's like this. And what we do is set up the P900 on 83 times zoom. All the settings are always the same. And then you just let the moon go from one side of the screen to the other on the P900. And then when it's done, that's it, upload it. And that will only take about 2 to 3 minutes. And we've been doing that for a long time. And in that time, I've noticed some crazy things. Because what we've got here is a lunar noon. It basically, it will start, when it's lunar noon, I'm facing south. And what it does is it just goes straight across my screen. There's no more, it's no longer rising, it's not setting. It's lunar noon, like midday for the sun, but this is for the moon. But there is rotation to this face of the moon. It does rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise. I've noticed more, it goes back on itself. So let me pause it. You see this, I've been looking at this marker. See my cursor?
Yeah.
Right, now that's been like up here on lunar noons. Or even higher, it's been down to the moon. Like actual face rotation. But I've not looked at it enough yet to say why it's doing it. But there is a rotation there. It needs more looking at.
Yeah.
But there's, like I say, there's 2 years of footage to go back through, you know, hundreds of videos to look at, analyze, work out if there's rotation in each one. It's a lot of work just to work out why it's doing that. But yeah, there is some crazy stuff going on with the moon. But yeah, this is all in a playlist on my channel. Well, there's like all of them are in a playlist.
It's all crazy.
And then, pardon?
It's all crazy.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But no, there's you know, all of this footage is on YouTube. You can go on my channel, Z Proxies, Cosmic Surfers, P900, Cool Pics, you know. Done it. Luke Marsh, Luke Marshall, Marshall is it?
Right, yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he's done it with us. You know, there's a lot of footage that shows what I'm saying. If you go and look for it, it's all. But it needs looking at, and you need to rotate the videos. Do you know what I'm saying? Really? But there's a lot of things still to discover with the playlist there. So if you click on each video, if it's rising, you have to rotate the screen. But when it's on scan line, it's not rotating as it rises and there's pasture. It's not, because it's going along a track, and it's the way you're looking at it as it's rising. It appears to rotate and then rotate down, but there is an actual face rotation there at each lunar noon. Or do you follow what I'm saying? Like, try to confuse everyone basically.
I think I found.
So this image is rotate it clockwise, and then you would see the moon going in a straight line across. And then that would show you the face, how it is. If there's lunar ones in it, there must be. Let me have a look. There's hundreds. Well, look, there's 385 videos in it to look at.
I know, it's amazing what you do, Stan.
Well, it's not just me. There's a few of us doing it now. There needs more of us doing it, actually. The more people you get doing this, the better.
Can I just say something? Is
Stan
breaking up for everyone else, or is it just me?
Me too. I can. It's all hacky.
It's a bit hacky, Stan.
Is it? Might be because I'm sharing. I can try reset it. All that might do the trick.
What does that? Got to go and come back on.
Yeah, I have to reset it and then I'll just come back on. I'll be like 2 minutes.
Okay.
I'll try that. It might still be as bad. I don't know why.
Or just come back on. It's simple as that.
It's because I'm sharing, I think.
Yeah,
my computer's full as well at the minute. Yeah, it is clogged up with stuff at the start. I'll reset and I'll come back, and then hopefully it'll work.
Maybe you just need to go off the hangout and come back on. Just try that one first, Stan. Sometimes just leaving the hangout and coming back on, that fixes it.
I'll try that and then I'll jump back on.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, sorry about this, everybody.
It's all right.
Not going to plan today.
say hi to the chat.
Yeah, I can't see the chat yet. I'm having power issues as well. Whoa.
Does everybody else get this sort of funny internet where it's sort of on and off, and you know, like your sound
Yes.
goes up and down all the time?
Very. I mean,
I don't remember ever doing that before. I don't know.
I do know. Shout out to the chat. Who do we got? I can't see it.
In the chat room, there is a Plane 12345, Walter, Snake Jones, Sea Oddity, Patricia,
Walter,
Chillstar, Richard
Chilster
Burke,
Deluxe,
Bullhawk,
Deluxe.
Mary, Irk. Yeah, I think I've caught up with what I can see. P100, 1000 rather.
P1000.
Sandra.
You degraded her.
100.
P100.
P1000.
P1000. Nice. Cool. That'll give a few people other chance to log on and hear what Stan has to say. What he's doing is absolutely astronomical. It's the amount of data. You have to understand these videos he's putting and posting. Terabytes worth of data here. And it's hard to keep track of all that and look at it and analyze it. And like he said, he needs more people looking at this stuff, and maybe they'll notice something he didn't notice. The more eyes we look at those videos of Stan's, the better. I mean, if you
He
get
wants
some
more. He wants more people to do it. He wants
Just
more
go
people
look
with
at-
the 360 cameras to actually take part and help with this. You know,
That
help him
too.
do it.
But his amount of data collection it's PhD level stuff here, man. It is serious time and effort, and he seems so relaxed about it. So thank you, Stan, for doing
I
that.
suppose he also wants to do it then, doesn't he, Flat Earth Dude? He actually wants to do it because that's
Yeah.
why he's chill. He wants
In
to
order,
do this.
you know, anything in life that you're passionate about and you're driven, it's easy to do. You know, it becomes easy. You just go and do it. And everybody's got their wheelhouse, and yours is doing these hangouts, and mine is, I don't know. I have no idea. But mine is definitely, my passion is definitely going out and interviewing people, flat earth or not. But that's one of the things I really love doing. So that's where. So there's everybody's got their thing, man. But Stan's got the serious moon videos. My goodness, 360s and P900 videos. It's absolutely astonishing. I can't believe he did it. It's great.
Can I
Go
say
ahead.
something, dude? Yeah, I was saying earlier, and then I'd lost power. I had a thermometer, and I was explaining to this couple in front of me. I asked them a question. Do you know if you hold this in front of the sun, what will happen to it? You know, and they looked at me like it's someone that I knew, and it'll rise up, won't it? And they're like, "Oh yeah, of course." You know, and I said, "It's not a trick question or anything. It's just simple common sense." I said, "Right, you hold it in front of the sun, it will rise if it's been in the sun and it's warm enough. It will certainly rise if it was lower temperature." And I said, "If you hold it in the moonlight, what will happen?" They didn't know, and I told them that in direct moonlight it will get colder than in the moon shade, you know. And they were like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, look into these things, please. Look into them," and they will do.
That's a great thing, man. It's a good way to start a conversation with somebody that is maybe not open to the idea of flat Earth or whatever, and that's a great opener. So that's a good one. I might use that.
Yeah, sorry, Stan had to turn his computer off and on, so he'll just be a few minutes while he resets his computer. Nothing ever goes to plan, does it?
No, it's a lot of data we're pushing around here. I'm in
How do you feel,
California.
Daisy?
There we go. we got people all over the world trying to talk on or either on your phone or computer, and it's a lot of data traveling very, very fast. For the most part, it works quite well. I'm very happy with it. There are days it seems to not work as well, for sure, but most days it works.
How do you feel today about Des? I tried to find him on Facebook, something about the expedition, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I've been working all day. I haven't thought about it too much. I was listening to some street interviews, people talking flat earth and stuff. And I've been driving around all morning. And I just happened, you caught me at a perfect time. I'm kind of at one place unloading a couple boxes. And it's so great to hang out with you guys. And while I'm doing it, it makes my job a lot easier. Thank you.
I've just seen that it was P1000, it's now P900.
P1000? P100? What?
No, it was P1000, and Sandra's come back and it's P900 now.
P900.
She's still got P1000. I'm sure she has. I'm sure I saw her today somewhere with P1000.
Yeah, she was in. I just said she's in us both. But are you getting a P1000?
So yeah, I mean, I haven't really, I've been so tied up in different things, and I really haven't spent a lot of time looking at some of this P1000 footage. Have you guys looked at any? I talked to a couple people that have the camera, and they say it's amazing, but I really haven't looked at any P1000 like the star footage or moon or anything. So,
didn't Joe Hill take some photos with his? And Sandra has.
Yeah, I know they have.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at them. I suck, man. Apparently. No, I've just been busy, and we'll get to it. I'll get to it maybe soon. But there's a lot going on out there. It's hard to keep up with everything. You know how it is. I mean, I'm like weeks behind with Martin even trying to. I love the stuff he's doing, so I can't even keep up with that. So it's tough.
There's so much to watch all the time. I
mean, you're doing hangouts, and you try to watch, and then you got to eat and work. It's just.
Good evening, Crrow777.
Crrow777.
Ahoy!
Ahoy!
Hello, my dad. How are you?
Good. How are you guys all?
Apparently, I'm on a ship.
We've just lost Stan for a moment because he just needs to reset his computer, so he'll be back in a moment. He was lagging and we couldn't hear him properly. But it's very nice that you've come on because obviously he's got some things he wants to talk to you about.
Okay. Have I met Stan before?
I don't think you have, because if you have, you'll just recognise his voice. But I don't have on one of them.
Yeah, they have met before, haven't they?
Yeah, I thought you guys.
Dude, maybe it was Dude. Sorry.
I have trouble keeping track. I like these small grassroots movements, so I try to pop in on these, and there ends up being so many people, and I'm terrible at names that I don't meet face to face. So.
Oh, that's okay. We appreciate that you've come on. So and taking the time, because we know you're busy with your own podcasts and videos and things.
Hold on. Let me turn off my phone here. It's beeping at me. Just a second. Ugh.
Yeah, we're just waiting for Stan to come back on because he had to reboot his computer.
Okay, there we go.
So while we're waiting for Stan to come on, do you want to tell us any things that you've been doing lately, Crow?
I put an interesting episode up today on Crrow777 Radio and first hour on YouTube with Marty Leeds. The second hour actually ends up being really interesting because Marty is quite a mathematical savant, and I bring up the whole 432, 440, orchestral A tuning, and he just launches into almost like a Rain Man-esque rundown of numbers that's pretty incredible. Other than that, same old. Jason and me will be together in, I don't know, less than 2 weeks to do the rest of the principal filming for Shoot the Moon, the film that Jason's making. Other than that, not much.
Well, it sounds quite a lot. We've been a little bit taken back. I don't know whether you heard anything, but I came across this guy called Des Walsh, and he was posting on Facebook, and he was saying that he was going to the Edge, and we've had a couple of hangouts with him. He's gone today to get to the Edge.
And how is he going about that?
He couldn't and wouldn't tell us very much because he didn't want to say where he was going to, didn't want anybody to obviously follow him or catch him or whatever. But they had raised £1 million.
Wow.
There were 2 flat earth scientists and then a few other scientists, but they're all doing experiments. They're doing some on the way. They reckon they will have got there in 2 to 3 days. They're obviously must be using infrared and going up above. They're obviously not going right to the edge if they could see it. They're taking it from a bit of a distance, but they just want to go in and come out.
Well, I hope they have a good camera, and it sounds like there's more than one of them, so there's a witness. Maybe they should listen to Van Halen. Well, how's it go? And there I stood at the edge and stood and looked down. Good luck to them.
50 of them are going. Yeah. Anyway, Stan's here. Stan.
Yeah, I've had to join on my phone. My laptop's been a right pain in the sec. I don't know what is going on with it. So I thought, rather than leave you all hanging, I'll jump back on here quick. Try and get the laptop working again.
Oh, that's a bit annoying when you wanted to maybe show Crrow some things. But anyway, Crrow, Stan, Crrow.
Howdy, Stan.
Hi, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
So,
Yes.
you well?
Yes, absolutely. Until winter. Then I'll be depressed for a couple months.
It does get like that a bit here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gets cold here. I don't like the cold, but yeah.
That's the dark. It's always dark. It gets really dark here.
Do you recognise Stan's voice, Crrow? I don't think you have met Stan.
Have
you met each other?
Yeah, have we met Stan? I don't think we have.
No, we haven't spoke. You spoke to Cosmic Surfer though. I speak with him quite a bit. He messaged you a little bit, but that was.
Do you want to Crrow what you do actually, Stan? Then while you're trying to sort things out, but what you like you do so many different things. But explain to him what you do and what you like, that 360 and stuff.
Yeah, well, we were trying to work out what the hell the sun and the moon are doing, you know.
Oh, okay, it all just came rushing back to me. You're doing the 360 of the sky. Okay, I know where you're coming from now. Okay.
Yeah, so that's like the other night I was listening to you and Roxanne, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but you were having a hangout chatting about stuff, and you were saying about throwing noodles at the wall, see what sticks, and this stuff sticks, man. Like the 360 stuff with the sky, it works. That's how back in the day sailors used to navigate, didn't they, using the stars? Do you know about this?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So that's what we started to think, and then that's what we were doing with the 360 stuff, and we worked out our own methods of using the sky to know where you are.
So does that vary from the typical old ideas with a nautical sextant? Are you looking at something different?
No, that still works to this day.
Right.
That will still work if you know how the sky works. But you have to have knowledge on how the sky is moving and rotating with you as you move, because that's what it's doing. You know, that's what I was saying before we had before we went live a minute ago. There are, you know, like people talk about the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of
Capricorn. Sure.
But it's the sun and the moon don't go around them tracks. It goes
around each of us, and that's how we know where we are. Because the only thing that ties us to the sky, the Earth to the sky, is us. And as we move, it moves with us and rotates with us. That's how we know where we are.
So wait a minute here. I'm trying to formulate this in my mind as you're speaking. So are you saying that what goes on in the sky is particular to the location of the person observing it? Is that what you're pointing out, or something else?
Yeah.
It's
basically all the same. Like, you're all seeing the same stuff, but you're seeing it from where you are. Like, you're all got your own sun and moon. Like, you said in your, don't want to interrupt you, but you said in your hangout, you can't, your telescope's not that good. It won't see 250,000 miles.
Right.
But how far can it actually see? Do you know what I mean? It's not as far as what you even think.
No, it's certainly much, much closer. But the idea that I think I'm hearing you express here is very similar to what we discovered in one of the forums on my website. There was a whole group of us ripping apart the equinoxes, trying to figure out why they're basically broken and why they lie about the equinox. Like, they probably told most of the people listening it was the 21st or 2nd or something of September, which isn't true. What we found is that it is wholly dependent on the viewer's location, wholly dependent. And as an example of that, in the United States, and I'm drawing from memory, so I'll come as close as I can because I haven't looked at the data in a week or more. In the United States, an equinox for the northern people would have been around the 25th, for the southern, maybe the 26th or 7th. But then again, there are other places where there are cities near the supposed equator, 100, 200, 300 miles apart, where one does get equal day and night and the other doesn't. So I appreciate what you're expressing. It's exactly what we found, with equinoxes. If we accept that the equinox, the definition of an equinox, or at least what I accept for now, is perfect equal day and night. That's the definition I accept.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to say. That is, if it's that definition, because it could be the other definition is where it's
0 degrees declination. Right. So, but
it's in its middle of its track, which.
But that gets to be problematic, though, because if we're going to say 0 degrees declination, that's why I threw it away. The 0 degrees declination idea is wholly based on a spinning everything, right? It's based on the center of our globe being lined up with the center of a sun globe. And I suppose you could translate that out. But at the end of the day, words have meaning, and equinox means equal night, basically, literally. The point is we couldn't, to this day, I can't imagine a map or a motion that would explain how we see the times rolling out for equal day and night. And even setting all that aside, the ancient idea was that we get 2 days of equality here. The equinox is symbolizing equality, day and night being equal days of balance. Supposedly we had 2 of them. It's just not true. We have all kinds of them. Just depends where you are in latitude and longitude.
Yeah, that's it. That's like I say. That's if you want an equal day and night. But if it's in the middle of its track, because it has, it goes north. You know what I'm saying? Then it goes high in the sky, low in the sky.
Have you figured out? I mean, what would you call the middle of the track? Though, see, that's the problem. For my mind, if we don't have a map that works, that we can put any faith in, then observation like you're doing has to be the next thing. But my point would be is how do you mark the center of that track over a particular landmass when you don't have a good map to start with?
That's it. I can't tell you what map we're on because I haven't got you would need so much more data to work out the shape of this place and how it is all working. But I can show you how the stars are working in the south on a flat Earth. And this will hold to the wall, because it's how the sailors used to navigate. And you can do this yourself. Anyone can do this. I'll just hope I can join this time. Let me see if I can.
the moon right now is just so bright up in that sky. Have a look if you can see it. Wow.
So I really don't know what's going on with my internet. Don't know if it's the computer or if it's the internet. Oh, it would have to all happen tonight, wouldn't it?
Is it just not doing it then, Stan? Is it just
Well,
messing it out?
I've clicked to join, and it's saying please wait, but it just won't join.
On your laptop, that is.
I really don't know what's going on with it.
You thought about rebooting it again, seeing if that clears it?
Yeah, I have. It's just been a pain. Just does not want to work for some reason.
I think we should try some noetic science and all think positive thoughts for Stan's computer, that it will start up and just kick into gear.
Just does not want to work. It's like it's got plagued or something.
Is there any way you could, like, before we came live, and as we came live, you were showing those pictures of your. Do you want to see if I can actually show the video?
Yeah.
Then?
What you could do is just email a link to someone else in the Hangout, and they can probably show it.
I think it would have to be me, but my computer sometimes is a bit slow. That's why I don't share very often, because I have problems as it is. But I could have a go at showing Stan's video if he wanted me to. He's muted now. Stan!
Sorry, I'm trying to work this all out. It's doing my head in at the minute. Right, I'm going to yank the internet out and reset that as well. I shouldn't get cut off though, because I'm on my phone.
Yeah, Stan was showing us that he was wanting to talk about the moon rotating.
Yeah, there is actual face rotation.
Right.
Rotation. Like, it's not just as it rises and as it sets, but each night there is a different rotation to the moon.
Right. So if you're looking at it, if you imagine the moon's like a pepperoni pizza in the sky, it'll go, rotate, so that if a pepperoni was at 12 o'clock, it would rotate down the side. And it also tilts forward slightly, forward and backward. But what I've always wondered is, so does that go all the way around? If you could be, if you could be in a really fast plane and view it for a few hours one night in one location, haul butt to another location, does it pause and start tipping back from another location, or does it continue on that course? That's what I've never been able to work out.
I don't know if it would stay with you, would it? I don't know if you'd see the same thing.
Well, it's the same idea that you expressed that I found with the equinox. Everything they try. Mainstream science tries to make you believe there's these all-encompassing systems, and a good example of that is time zones. Time zones are a fraud. It tries to convince everyone that if you're in this time zone, this is what time it is. And it's like it's a bit like your wristwatch, right? If you look at your wristwatch and it tells you it's 12 noon, if you go outside, it's not 12 noon, solar noon. The highest point of the sun for that day is solar noon. It's the same thing. But like in the United States, if you take, for example, the central time zone, there's one portion of it. Not only that, the lines are not straight on the edges of the time zone, which makes no sense. But it's like close to something like 800 miles wide or something. So what it's basically asking you to believe is that a person standing on the eastern boundary with a wristwatch is experiencing the same time as a person nearly 800 miles away on the western boundary. These things are not true, and that's how a lot of people get confused about the sky, because if I'm standing in New York City, I will in fact witness a different sunrise than someone in Charlotte, North Carolina, or San Diego, California, or Birmingham, over in your part of the woods. You know, these are truths. So what this really tells us is that all these things that have been schematized are fudging reality to begin with, because it's wholly dependent on where the viewer is viewing. Wholly dependent.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Right.
Because it's like my solar noon is actually 5 minutes past 12 when I'm on UTC time. But when my clocks, when we have daylight, you know, what you call daylight savings, our clocks change. We go an hour forward. So then my solar noon is at 1:05.
Right.
13:05. So
maybe twice in a year you might get lucky and your wristwatch will be close, but for the most part it's just making up a random time that has no reflection of the reality of nature, which is creating the real time. In other words, the sun and the moon are the clock, period. And so all these artificial methods are trying to convince you that there's reality where in fact there is no reality. It's completely illusion based. It's just the thing you choose to believe and use, completely separated from nature.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But you can use the sky to know exactly where you are.
Right. Well, that's been done for as long back as we can see.
But we can use that now to work out the shape of this place. We can use the sky
with enough data points, right? So what you're saying is with enough people.
But yeah, it would take a lot of people.
I agree with you, and I think if someone ever gets going on that, I think that's a very worthwhile endeavor. But yeah, it would take a lot of people, and it would probably get difficult because you might be talking to someone in Iceland thinking of the map that you grew up with, and you might get data back that tells you, wait a minute, this doesn't work at all. So yeah.
I just add something in there because I know it's about you and Stan talking, but we've got the Boogie Man channel in the chat room, and he came on Sun and Moon a couple of weeks ago, and he was showing us, because he's got telescopes and lenses, and he's just looking at different things. He can see that the moon is on a track. There's different tracks. There's these lines which he can see in the sky through his photography. They're always there.
I haven't seen that. I think someone is he a couple? Is this okay? So I think someone just sent me one of their clips. I don't remember exactly what the clip was. So I've seen his footage. It's been at least 2 years since I've been able to film. I'm almost completely recovered from my surgery, so hopefully before it gets too cold here, I'll get back out. But these things don't surprise me. People say all these things that 10, 15 years ago everyone would have thought it was bizarre, or that they needed to quit taking peyote or something, but none of these things surprise me. The more you look, the more that you find you've been misinformed your whole life. The problem comes in is how do we interpret it, and it all starts with guys like Boogeyman, me. We get footage, we put it out there, and then a lot of other people get interested, and hopefully over time we work out to some degree what we're looking at. It's not an easy thing because we're stuck on the ground. We don't have fancy planes and big ass telescopes on mountaintops. We have what we have, but it's enough to prove that that what we've been told is absolute nonsense.
Yes. And
do you know what we don't have though? We don't have any real footage above 50 kilometers. Nothing.
Right. This is one of the main arguments for satellites and other things. I say it all the time. I made myself a rule. It's like Isaac Asimov's idea of the 3 rules of robotics. It could almost be a law. And what I finally decided was a rule I could live by was anything in the modern age that can be filmed in high definition will be filmed in high definition. And if you
Yeah.
accept that as a logical rule, that tells you a hell of a lot about the nonsense that's being put forward. But of course, you've got to get into your higher mind enough that you can recognize cartoons, which is basically what NASA hands us all the time.
Yes. Skyfly Bry came across something like in the virtual one with the tomato sauce in the bottom of the bottle, and that the toothbrushes were just sitting there in plastic bags without being strapped in or anything, you know, or floating or whatever. They were just sitting there. And then I went to look for that and I couldn't find it. And the first bit of footage I saw the glitch. I saw the blue screen thing going on, the glitch down, the big line going down. And you can actually see this guy, oh, I mustn't step behind that bit because I'll go behind the blue screen, green screen, whatever it is. So, yes, rubbish.
Well, for me, at some point, you just got to accept that it's all nonsense and quit wasting your time on their nonsense. I mean, the first time that you see underwater footage passed off as real astronauts in space and you understand truly it's taken underwater in a pool, you walk away. If this was a real, if science is a serious endeavor, there's no room for this nonsense. It's a bit like the Hollywood connection. Hollywood is never more than a stone's throw from NASA. And let me tell you something. I went to the Johnson Space, Disneyland there in Houston a couple years ago. And when you walk in the door there, the first thing you see is a mock-up of the Star Trek Galileo lander. And so I ask, is there any adults in this place with me right now? Because if science is a serious endeavor, then Star Trek has no place in a serious endeavor. And they condition minds to think that this is all. They even name their stuff after the first Galileo thing from Star Trek. And it's all laughable. But the problem is so many people have been programmed into buying that this is perfectly acceptable. And once you get back to common sense, let me tell you something. If this is serious business, then entertainment and Hollywood have no place. Then lying about footage has no place. It's either serious or it isn't. And what we've proven beyond question is that this is not serious business.
Yeah,
just
and
having a
masses
laugh.
of lies to the people. Carry on, Stan, sorry.
Well, I'm saying they're just having a laugh with the crap they show us, like that car going around the,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But we may have the last laugh. I mean, the jury is not in. We don't know what happens a few years from now, whether their grand push for global domination, to use a bad word, works, or whether the human beings in this place stand up and say we've had enough. But when you start showing, just think of the backstory we were told. For a pound of something to go into orbit costs this many $10,000 or some nonsense they used to tell us. And pretty soon they're showing us footage of keyboards on the International Space Station. Well, I know a keyboard weighs at least 5 pounds. At $10,000 a pound or whatever it was, that's a pretty damn expensive thing to have put there. But by the time you get to a sports car, and you've been told that it's negative 500 degrees in the shade or something, and 1,000 degrees in the, I mean, it's ludicrous, all of it. And again, as soon as you understand that this is not serious business, there's no time to waste on taking apart their charades anymore. Time to move on and try to replace it with something that is serious. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I keep out of all the dramas and stuff, and just stick to filming the moon and filming the sun and doing the 360 stuff and everything like that,
Right, exactly. First-hand observation. There, in understanding that how the sky works is wholly dependent on where you were viewing it from, what you just said takes on a whole new importance. There you are, where you live, from your observational point, doing direct observation. That's it, man. That is the be all and end all. That is back out in nature, observing nature, and there's nothing else to observe here. That's it. There is nothing more. Nature is it. It's what we got.
That's it. I heard you say that the other night as well, and I thought you bang on with that.
Well, it's true. We've been fooled into the artificial systems that are called science. And, you know, I've said before, I don't know if science tried to get off on the right foot, but it doesn't really matter anymore because science has no respect for nature. And that is a frickin' problem that cannot be forgiven and isn't going away. And not only does it not have any care for nature, which is all there is for us, which we are part of, which we came from, it seeks to create these synthetic systems to replace nature all the time. It's doing this. Even what we were just talking about, the time, and you mentioned, you know, daylight savings time. How the hell do you save daylight? Is there a bottle that I'm not aware of that I can put some daylight in to save it? You know, it's ridiculous. And then you understand daylight savings time gets put into place 2 times a year. Where? Right at the equinox. This is further using science to obscure the natural world and the natural cycle of time and to pull a human being out of that. Every one of us knows as soon as we go through daylight savings time, you'll feel discombobulated for about a month till you get used to it again. And by the time you're wholly back into the swing of things, guess what? You're at the other equinox. They're going to do it to you again. And that sets aside, you know, I always used to quote a supposed Indian chief that was talking about daylight saving time. And he said only a white man would cut a foot off the bottom of a blanket, sew it to the top of the blanket, and think he'd change something. Which whoever ever said that, whether it's true or not, it's a perfect representation. And on top of that, we've got states here in the United States like Arizona that don't do daylight savings time. It's a complete construct that doesn't respect a human being's place in nature. And worse than that, is probably designed to mess with a human being's experience of the natural world.
I was telling Karen earlier, Crow, about the time change as well. I was working in Sweden at the airport and a flight came in from Chicago. And because of the time change in October, for a few days, there was a slip in the difference in time. And we had to go to work at like 5 in the morning, you know, so we could get there for the flight that came in a lot earlier than it would normally. There was no buses there, you know, in Sweden. I digress. But it was because of the time difference, you know, it was so dark. Sweden is so dark in the winter time. Yeah, it used to mess me up that October, really bad.
There's something to be said, you know, when this is the thing about, I guess, what we would call Aboriginal cultures, which I don't appreciate the term at all, but it's the one we have to work with. In my estimation, these old cultures, like in Australia, the first people, I'll call them in Australia, you could learn more from those people than probably anywhere else in the world. Of course, other first peoples having the same ability if they have an old culture, you see, because they are still within the cycle of time. They are still within the recognition of nature. They haven't left the truth of this place. And the truth of this place is the sky is the only clock we have and nature is the only thing that exists that we are aware of. And so, yeah, it's just unfortunate that technology has come to where it is, and it is basically designed to try to replace all those old ideas. But the problem is those are the only ideas that matter. So regardless of what science does or any other synthetic system, there's only one perfect system that we're aware of here. At least it looks perfect from our point of view, and that's the natural world. And the further we get from it, the more trouble we're going to be in, because that also speaks to our ability to take care of ourselves if something happens. How many people in this chat room right now, if you know the grocery store closed tomorrow and we couldn't get gasoline, for how many of us could go out into the world and still survive? How far from nature have we come? And for that matter, people who live where there's a winter, you know, that's a whole other thing. You know, winter.
The bit I saw about time savings was the whole thing's been set up because it's to make more money. Nothing to do with the light.
That's the whole thing. Everything is about making money.
Well, it's about control. It's about control too. And I'll use this example about religions. The idea of hell. The idea of hell has led a lot of societies through many, many millennium probably to do all kinds of things because nobody wants to go to hell. You want to know what the original allegory for hell is? It's wintertime. You want to know why? Because if you are a human being without a grocery store and a car, and you find yourself in the middle of December in -10 weather, that is hell. How are you going to eat? How are you going to survive? In a real world where all these synthetic systems don't provide for you, that was the be all and end all of living here. For people who had to experience that, you had to use the rest of the year to prep up so you could be ready for that time. And all these festivals and religious holidays that have followed on all the way to the modern era are in fact memories of the people who understood what those originally stood for, which was the natural cycles of the sun and the moon. It's spring. Guess what? Everything's going to grow. Animals are going to have babies. Pretty soon we're going to have all this food. It's going to be warm. But guess what? Fall's coming. And when fall gets here, brothers and sisters, you damn well better have done your work, because we got to live all the way till spring again. And these are the ideas that have been left by the wayside and turned into things to fear. And, you know, it's just an example.
I agree. That's why we've all started growing our own stuff.
And good on you. It's a critical thing. Just simply having a garden and paying attention will teach you.
You only need a little tiny space for that. Start with microgreens.
It'll teach you more than you ever learned in damn high school, I'll tell you that. Use one growing season to have a natural garden, and you will in fact learn more about this world than you ever learned in high school, period. And actually useful information, you know, something that actually is useful, not, you know, the idea of a big bang or a black hole or some other nonsense that got jammed in your head. Actually how to make food, and actually how to make food that carries life essence, because plants are the carriers of life essence, except in high school, no one ever told you that. So most of us don't understand that the reason eating a pizza will kill you in the long run if you do it all the time is because it's dead. It's not just nutritionally depleted. Plants are the carriers of life essence, and all the natural scientists, all the alchemists, all of them could have told you that very thing. And yet somehow we all made it through 12 years of school. You know, no one ever told us that.
Yeah.
Seems
now
like
plastic. We're now eating plastic. Plastic.
Right.
Rice. Plastic.
And I hear you, Boogeyman. Pizza is good, and therein lies the conundrum.
Hey, Stan, I think, has joined with his computer. Have you, Stan? Stan, we can't hear you. Stan. Oh, how bad for him. He's got some stuff to show you.
He should. Why doesn't he just send you the link so you can share it out? Maybe might be easier. This new. Oh, we're in Hangouts. I was going to start complaining about the new Skype. I forgot we're using Hangouts. The new Skype is horrible.
Oh. Well, I've only got a few people on there, and it's okay for messaging.
Jason and I are looking. We're probably going to pay for a different way to do it. Hey, wait a minute. C Oddity is. I'm actually seeing the chat room this time. I think C Oddity just sent me a music clip from. Let me think of the channel. I used to talk to him all the time. I haven't talked to him about a year. System Protest, such a great name for a YouTube channel. He sent me this kind of great techno music that was put together from some shows I did. Is that you, C Oddity? Same C Oddity?
You might take a second just to reply in the chat room.
Yeah, I'm looking. Normally I don't have this window up.
Oh, Stan's gone again. Oh, no, how disappointing for him. He'll be back in a second.
That's all right. I'm not in a big rush. I'll give him his due time. I know he waited.
Yes, so time savings are only to do with money. And I was just saying that Florida has got rid of their time savings. So there you go. How can that happen if we're on a spinning ball, if everybody suddenly gets rid of everything? It's all ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, when I think about that, as I began to break it down, this was years ago, as I was beginning to focus on the equinox, what I guess I realized the most was the idea that everything is a cycle, and nature proves it. You know, summer's here, so we know fall will be next, and we know winter will be next. These are provable things. That's a cycle, and it will continue on and on and on. In the same way, we understand the sun will come up tomorrow when and where it's supposed to, without fail. We know these things. So when you pull a human being out of the cycles of time and you use nonsense calendars like the Gregorian calendar, which is basically about commerce, which you pointed out, about money. In fact, what's happening is it kills a human being's ability to understand that within the scope of a cycle, potentialities will change. In other words, very basically, I could explain that like in the summertime, I know it's going to be warm, so I can do all these things. But if it was the winter time, I probably couldn't do those same things. Down at the finite level, when a person begins to understand the true cycle of a true year, they may understand, hey man, at this part of the year, we better be careful with certain things, because we understand from all those other cycles we went through that bad things can happen right now. These types of ideas, and that's a big part of what's being covered up. Not only that, a lot of very old texts claim, and I don't know how true they are, but it's an interesting idea, that almost all childbirth happened near the vernal equinox at some distant part of human history, if that's to be accepted. But anyhow, it sounds like Stan's back, maybe?
Oh, I made it back, I think. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
You sound good.
Thank God for that. Way!
I see your video.
Crikey, that took a lot of effort. I had to reset everything, punch everything a few times, but we're good now.
Crikey, I left that one off to borrow it.
Oh, mate, I just don't know why. Everything's worked fine up until tonight. I thought, yeah, I've even brought it all up here and got it all ready.
So wait a minute, what are we looking at here, bud? Are those
These are your
equators and
scan lines. These are what the moon, this is just what the moon's track is. This is what the moon tracking we've done. But all the planets, the sun, they all follow the same.
So this is basically the ecliptic I'm looking at?
Yeah. As
What's
it goes.
the green? What's the green dotted line?
This is your horizon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then that's the tracks of the moon.
And so how many do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, you have 12. So this represents a year, right?
A month.
Oh, this is only a month?
Yeah, you know the story of the tortoise and the hare.
Yes.
It's the story of the sun and the moon. Because the sun and the moon do the same race. Although the moon's slower, it wins the race because say if you see my cursor.
Yep.
Say if we're starting here, the moon and the sun will be up there in a month, whereas the sun will take 6 months.
Okay, so explain to me, if we start at the blue line, when did this collection of data begin? What month? Do you know what month and what day?
I've got over 2 years of data.
No, I mean this particular image. I'm trying to build a model in my mind.
This is just the scan lines. If I roll the video forward, you'll see the next image. It will become a bit more what's going on. But
so
you see it's going around.
What is the degree of tilt that you see? Like if you stopped that and measured the path of the moon, how much tilt is that compared to the horizon at its most severe? Do you know?
But you can have, it depends where you are.
For the sake of this one, wherever you captured it from.
I don't know exactly what the tilt is, but that's, you can work it out from this 360 image, the exact angle.
Right. I just think it would be interesting to know because, of course, that's probably going to correspond with the claim that the globe is, whatever it is, 24 degrees tilted, or I forget. Right?
Yeah. But it doesn't, it doesn't tilt.
I would have to study this for like a month. It's a hell of an image you got going here. So explain to me how you collected the data. Was this 24 hours a day with a 360 camera? How did you do this?
Yeah, this is a night image. This one image that you've just seen there
Yep.
That is one night's track. You know, that's the moon coming, that's it rising. Yeah, you see it as it rising, you know, and then throughout the night, and then it was set over there, but they've stopped it early on this one.
So are you a member of Crrow777 Radio?
No, but I should be.
Yeah, well, when we get done,
this is Dubai. From the Dubai Tower.
Yeah.
There you go. Same thing.
How many of these videos do you have?
These are images, right?
Right.
Can you do you have a VR headset?
I don't.
Can you get one?
Well,
can you beg or borrow or steal one from someone? Surely someone that knows you can go, here you go, Crow. Here is a headset. Put your head.
I've been actually resisting virtual reality, but I'll
it
think
isn't.
about it.
Yeah, I did for a very long time.
Yeah,
but
I just don't like.
Yeah, I just don't only see this in a virtual reality.
I could see the value of it, but what I was going to say is when we get done here today, get Karen to give you my email, and I'll give you a login for Crrow777 Radio. There's an Equinox thread in the main forum, so each show has comments, and not that. In the main forum, there's an Equinox thread. It would be great if you could link some of these videos in, because those are the people who have been working on the Equinox, and I think this might shed quite a bit of light, because it's a view. When I look at this, the first thing that struck me, this is a view you don't typically get, you know?
No, you won't get this without 360.
Right.
See, the thing with a 360 cam, this is the easiest way to explain it to anyone, right? With a normal camera, you're stuck in a room looking out of a very tiny window, trying to depict what you're seeing. With your normal P900s, your scopes, all of that, you're just looking at the smallest section of, you know, you're basically in prison looking out of a window, trying to work out what's out there. But with a 360 camera, you can rewind and have a look at a different direction, or you can look any which way you want at that video. Do you see what I'm saying? You can look east the whole video, and then start again, and then look west the whole video. That's how because it's the all-seeing eye is a 360 camera. It sees everything, and that's how we've done what we've done. Because
what channel is this running on? I don't have a YouTube. I don't see a YouTube link.
This is on my channel.
Karen, can you kick me the channel? Can you email me the channel?
Description of this hang.
I'll send it all to you, Crow.
Yes,
Okay. And when you send it, give me an email address and a username, and I'll get you logged into Crrow777 Radio. I think there'd be a lot of people in the Equinox thread that could do quite a bit with a view like this, because it's a unique way to view. I mean, the only way you could really do this is to imagine it in your mind otherwise. So clearly this is a unique piece of video.
When I've had the headset on my head, I've been up where my camera is, and then putting it on my head, taking it off, looking, put it on, take it off. And it's right. What you're seeing here is what is going on above us. It is, you know, it's working right. This is Cape Town. If you look at Cape Town, the scan lines have flipped because we're now beyond the equator, or what we're calling the equator. Because all the equator really is when these scan lines are straight up and over your head, you know.
So then do you accept that the tropics of Capricorn and Cancer accurately describe the farthest and the least extent of the travel of the sun? Do you think that's true?
It's depicted wrongly, though. Because if you see from... that's the other thing. I'm not entirely sure. All we're seeing is a close image of the sun and moon, and it moves with us. What makes that image? I'm not sure. I don't know if there's anything. I don't know.
Well, I guess my question was a bit boneheaded anyhow.
Yeah, no, there's not sun and moon traveling round tropics. It's to us.
Right. Well, it's from that's what I was going to say. It's from the point of view of the observer. So truly, even the idea of the tropics changes to the viewer and his location. But my point would be, is part of what we began to discover in the equinox thread over there is that truly the tropics do seem to mark the northern extent of the sun and the southern extent of the sun. But what's really interesting about this is the solstices, the date for the solstices seems to be at least very close to correct and constant. But for some reason, the equinoxes are not, and it's very baffling.
That's because of your scan lines and how they're tilted. And altitude plays a part as well, I think.
So can you come up with any kind of a model that begins to demonstrate this? Have you gotten that far?
Well, the only way you'll be able to see this working and jump around from here to there would be in a virtual reality, because you can't have, the sky won't work with a fixed ball spinning above a flat. It's not how it's working.
Well, what I was going to say is if you had a 3D designer, a 3D modeler, what you could do is just put a person standing. Okay, so no map of the earth, but just put a person standing and then use this data to draw the sky motion around him. And it might be a very telling thing. Not only that, you seem to have collected data from vastly different areas. So if you had some data from the UK and then some from Dubai.
Yeah, we have a lot, you know, Japan.
Right. So if you did that 3D animation in all those different places, that might truly start to go a long way towards a workable model of some kind. You know, all the time you see people making models and they're doing the best they can, but it's all dependent on a map that nobody can trust most of the time. So what I'm suggesting here is if you ignore the map and just make the standing person the ground or where the observer is, and ignore everything else except the sky motion, maybe that would be a telling thing.
See, Z-Proxy is very good at doing renders and modeling and 360 stuff. You should definitely spend a little bit of time on his channel having a look at what he's been up to.
I have in the past, and I know Z-Proxy has followed me for a long time, and I would actually love to have more time to do it. My problem is there's just not enough of me to go around now.
No, you're on a limited time, and everyone is.
Well, you know, on a slow day, I get 100 emails, and I was thinking the other day, if I spend 3 minutes on each one of these emails, that's 300 minutes. So I know it's a weak excuse. It's just, well, the other thing is Jason is not married to a corporation anymore. So hopefully I'll get more time out of that too, because Jason will be able to help me more.
But you can see what's happened in this image is the scan lines have now rotated back. So that way's north. We're looking.
Which way's north? To the right?
Yeah, let me go back a little bit. Like this way's north now.
Okay.
Like the red line down here.
Yep.
This is north. When you see that,
so that's true. Lunar. That's true north.
Yeah, that is your true north. Yeah.
Okay.
According to your sky.
Right.
I don't work like this declination stuff and everything, man. I think that's another thing just to confuse everyone. You just look at the sky. The sky tells you what way's south, what way's north. How many people actually know where they are from looking at the sky?
Dan, can I just say it looks like an array of LEDs for me right now. That picture. It's just a sky full of LEDs, and they turn them on and off, on and off, on and off, you know, over time. Can you see it?
But they are close though, because these lines, you never make the lines bigger or smaller. You just rotate them to fit the image, and that's how you know where you are. Because this gives you your longitude and latitude.
So when you're creating the data that's going to make one of these videos, I'm guessing what you're doing is taking a snapshot, a 360 snapshot at the same time every day. Is that how you're doing it?
This is a time lapse over one evening. So a time lapsed image, then just all compiled into one image.
And so each of these clips represents a 24-hour period or a 12-hour period?
12, roughly.
12.
Each one of the, see where my cursor is now?
Yep.
That's the same star going, you know.
What was interesting is in one of the past views, things looked more small and compact when they were close to the horizon and brighter as they got higher in one of the views.
Yeah, we're now farther north because you see the scan lines have dropped.
Yep.
Hang on, let me slow this down a little bit.
You know, I think Z Proxy had asked me if I wanted to be involved in this like probably a year or two ago, but I just didn't have enough time.
Yeah,
I
we
wish
did.
I wish I-
That was with Cosmic Surfer. That's when he was speaking to you.
I wish I would have. This is very interesting to me. Wish I had more time.
But you see how the red line's now at the top, so we're back
Yep.
in the north. Because you see what's happening there.
Look
In
at the
fact,
middle. Look at the middle of that, where the line is. Go back a little bit, where the line is not level. The travel of the moon has like a bump in it. See it right there. You know, maybe 6 or
that's
7.
where the camera's been knocked. That's
Okay, I was going to
you
ask.
see where it goes. You can see it.
Right. I was going to say. The only reason I ask about that is because when we mapped the equinox, there's a dog leg as it comes into the northern or the Pacific Northwest of the United States. There's actually a dog leg curve to the motion of the equinox as it enters to travel across this country.
That could be, that could be it, or it could be, I don't know. That could be a camera jog.
Yeah, that's the logical. I think that's the logical explanation. Is the camera changed?
But do you see what's happening here? The Masons with the compass and square.
Yep.
Well, the squares for reading flat surfaces, squares. You like level stuff, flat. You can do stuff with a square, can't you? If you map in the world, you map it on a flat map.
Yeah.
All maps are flat, but then the sky's a globe, spherical. Hence the compass. The compass and the square. It's because they know that the Earth's flat and the sky's a celestial sphere of stars around us. And that's how it moves when you go across the equator. That's why we can see southern stars in the north.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I would have to look at this stuff for like a month and keep coming back to it. It's you got to wrap your head around it. It just takes me a while to work through it and logically try to work through it. There may come a time not too far in the future when I actually come out and say it may be very likely that what we call Earth is square. If that were true, it would absolutely match the old occult explanations of where we exist. But I'll have to try to come up with data to try to demonstrate that. Wow. So yeah, I can see where the North Star is taking its little quarter arc right there. Polaris.
See, that is your North Star, but it moves with you. That's only pointing you to north. It's not over the North Pole there, is it? It's not until you get that North Star above your head that is when you are at the pole.
Right, which probably doesn't resemble anything we've been told, of course.
That's why when you ever see anyone at the pole, it's never at night, is it? Because anyone that knows how to read the stars will tell you they're not there.
Well, the other thing is there's probably no South Pole.
Well, there is.
Not that we can see like this, though.
There is a south point, yeah.
In
the sky. It is there.
I'm not sure if I accept that.
That's what I say. The sky's a sphere around us, and as you rotate down, it will show the other pole.
Right. I accept that. Right. Most of the time, it's not like you could walk under it in the same way you could walk under the north, where the North Star is, where Polaris is.
I don't know.
I don't think so. But that's wholly dependent too on the idea that, that Antarctica is there and that there's some kind of an end to it. For all we know, it goes on.
Well, that's it. What's beyond the poles? I don't know.
Exactly. Probably hidden land masses we know nothing about. If I had to guess.
There must be. We're confined to.
Yep.
That's why, if you look at South Africa, and from the tracking we've done, they're nowhere near the bottom. If it was a globe, let's say, they're nowhere near the bottom. You know what I mean? They're just past the equator, really, just a little bit down.
Do you have any way to get data like this from near the bottom of South America?
You just got to put a camera up, and we can tell you where it is. Like, that's all we need is the camera to go up, and then we'd go. That's that far from there.
Seems like having a camera as far down South America as you could would add quite a bit of knowledge.
Yeah, we haven't got one from South America. Got one from Cape Town. That's the farthest we've.
That's not bad though, Cape Town.
Yeah, that was the one back here that used. This
Yeah.
one. Yeah, this is Cape Town. This is Cosmic Surfer.
Yeah, I need a clone, man. I need to have 2 or 3 more of me so I can do all these things. Yeah, look, go back a little bit. So you notice, look at the compact nature of the luminaries when they're closer to the horizon, and how they get brighter as they go up, or more expanded. So is that a function? Is that just simply a function of the night getting darker and the ISO and everything, that the camera settings staying the same? Is that what's doing it? Okay.
Yeah, and then obviously these ones down here are like 30%, 40%, 50, 60, 70.
Right.
Just see what I'm saying? Every day it jumps up. Over the 14 days, it will jump all these lines.
So have you made any kind of foundational conclusions based on all this work?
Well, quite a bit, yeah. But it's just too crazy to comprehend,
So what?
When
The lunar wave's freaking crazy, and if I didn't have video, people would probably put me in the nuthatch. But so what if it's crazy?
Well, that's like this, people just look at you and think, what are you going on about? Because until you understand what you're actually seeing.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. So what people think, if it has legs, it'll walk.
That's it. If it's noodles, stick it on the wall. If
Exactly.
it sticks. That's what, like when you said that the other night, I was like, man, I'm going to throw some noodles at your wall.
Exactly.
And these are my noodles.
If you're wrong, then so what? You look silly for an hour or two until people forget about it. What difference does it make?
But this works, though. That's what I say. Every camera you stick up, when we come to analyze it, we just rotate the lines to suit that image. You never have to change them lines. Only rotate them to know where you are.
Regardless of any geographical location, the width will stay the same.
Everything. They always fit these lines. That's how the sailors used to know exactly where they were, because they kept their timepiece on UTC time, or whatever time they were working to. And then they knew how the sky worked, so they knew if they looked up at the moon and it was at such and such a height at this time, they were there, or here. Or
how many years apart have you guys done this now, and what's your oldest footage compared to your newest, where the lines are still identical?
Well, I've got 2 years of footage.
And the lines are identical across 2 years?
We haven't done a full 2 years. We just done a month from 3 locations at the same time. We done Cape Town, Estonia, and the Isle of Wight, where I am.
Well, if you took one image with the lines like this, a single still from all the way back then, would all the lines be equidistant in the same way as they are today?
I would think so.
So that's a telling thing. That proves the nature.
The sky, well, the sky hasn't changed, does it? Every night I've gone out there, looked at, there's Polaris, never moves.
Well, the reason
I don't move.
Well, the reason I'm saying this is for the simple reason that science lies to us all the time about a thing called precession of the equinoxes. If the precession of the equinoxes was true, then theoretically over, you know, larger times than 2 years, the distance between some of these lines would have to change. You see what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, but they don't.
Yeah, that's.
I think sundials, they still tell the time, man, to this day. Ancient sundials, you know, they still work. So the sky doesn't move unless you move.
Yeah, man, it's all pretty cool. Thanks for showing me all this.
Well, you know, this is. Have you seen the? You haven't seen the horizon stuff yet, have you? Either? You know, there's loads of it because there is a drop to the horizon as well.
Show me a bit more, Stan.
Well, I'll just show you. This is another one of Alaska, and then the next one. This is from my one. This is my roof camera. So this is south now. There's the blue line. There's so, like, once you understand this and how it's all working, it's like that there. That's Polaris.
Yeah.
That's where my Polaris is. If I go up there with the VR in this image, put it on, you know, get it right with Polaris, put it on, take it off. That's where it is. And that's where it'll be forever, unless I move.
Well, that's the thing about the precession of the equinoxes. You know, they're going to try to convince you that, you know, 50,000 years ago, Vega was where Polaris is, or some other nonsense like that.
Yeah, but it's not, because the bloody pyramids are still set out. You know, the certain stars still go through exactly the same window as what they did when they were built.
Brilliant point, Stan. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you.
Well, the point in space would remain the same. North is north, but science would have you believe that the North Star changes over large cycles of time. My first reaction to that is how could anyone ever prove that unless they had bulletproof records, which apparently nobody has. And that whole idea supports the precession of the equinoxes, which has also allowed them to jack up the idea of astrology. You know, like if you go to Stellarium to figure out what sign we're in at the vernal equinox, to figure out what the age is, you would think we're still in Pisces, when in fact we're in Aquarius. And so the precession of the equinoxes is the supposed excuse for all that. I suspect it's just simply that they've jacked up, you know, how we mark the constellations.
It's the cycle of the stars. That's what we're marking it on. If you look here, all these stars here, right? All the wandering stars are in this band. It's a little bit wider than shown though. This is the moon's band, but the sun does creep down, and I think Venus is coming down lower and going higher than the moon as well, although we haven't got the proof of that. It's there if anyone wants to analyze it and look to see what's going on, but we haven't done it yet. But what I'm saying is everything's in this band, and they're just shifting. You know, there is a cycle going on.
Right. Well, your equidistant lines already proves that. So this is basically roughly a representation of the ecliptic, or what science calls the ecliptic.
Yeah, but everything above that is fixed.
Yeah.
And beneath that is fixed. It's just an ear of the wanderers.
Yeah, it would take me, you know, I would need to look at this for about a month to begin to be able to formulate something in my mind. I can't put it together that quickly. It's a new way. What you're presenting here is a new way to think about this, a new way to view it.
Yeah. It's a great tool. That's how you got to think of VR. It's not, oh, that's entertainment. I want a VR set to watch whatever. that is really helpful. That should be in the schools so every person can see how this is working, you know?
Yeah.
This should be like when you come out of school at 18, you should know how to travel this bloody earth using the stars.
Right. You should know where the sun and moon are rising through the course of a year. You should know where the North Star is. You should know the majority of the constellations, at least through the zodiac, because that's how you place the sun. You're right. All these things should be known. Well, it wasn't too long ago maybe in the late 1800s, when they were still teaching what's called the 7 liberal arts, this stuff was better known by the average educated person, when the quadrivium and the trivium were still being taught, not the abridged versions that are hard to find now. But yeah, you make a good point.
Yeah, well, once this was common knowledge, you know.
Right.
Everyone knew this.
Well, science is trying to make sure that nobody knows this.
No, but none of this works on their spinning ball, does it?
Nope.
You try like you just we tried to make it work, and you can make so much of it work, but then it just falls apart. It won't all work.
Can I ask a question? Well, I know the answer, but the Tropic of Capricorn is at 23.4 degrees, is it not? Is that not where the latitude is? And also the Tropic of Cancer. Am I correct in assuming that 23.4, or is it around there?
I don't know. It's like you said the other night, though, Crow, isn't it? You have to forget all your beliefs,
right?
Well, and just go on what you can prove and what you know, and everything else is just forget about it. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah, so the problem with that question is it's dependent on where the viewer is. If the viewer was in the right spot, yeah, you're probably in the ballpark. But you see, it's hard to answer a question like that because it presupposes that you've accepted a map of our world that's acceptable, right?
With tropics.
Sorry, yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
Which I don't
so
think
what Stan is showing is the first-hand observation proves the nonsense of the model that's been put forward and taught in school for so long, which actually isn't even that old. You know, how long have we had a globe? They claim since what, 1600s, whatever it is, I forget. But point is, first-hand observation trumps nonsense.
But I remember it first day at school. You just sat there looking at it, and then they're like, "That's where you live," and it's like, really? I don't know. I remember sitting there looking at it thinking,
that's how they destabilize you. They convince you're in a permanent spin cycle.
Yeah, but it's just a
foundation, right? You're never. People who accept that will never be stable in the same way mentally as if they decided that they were stationary. All right, well, make sure you email me this stuff, Stan, and again, a username that you want and an email so that I can set you up so you can get into the forum.
Yeah, I will do, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot. There is, like, so there's 2 years of footage there. There is more stuff yet to be analysed that we haven't done yet. It's just
I can't wrap my mind around it that quick. I mean, I kind of can, but not in any way that matters. I have to think about a thing like this and then walk away from it and keep coming back to it until I can kind of.
You need to have just 10 minutes in a VR set just to see what we see. Really, to fully understand what you're seeing, because it does put you in.
I'll bring it up with Jason. He may have that kind of stuff. He's all about technology.
I expect he has got a dusty one somewhere. Most people have. They forget they got them.
I spend all my time trying not to be technical.
But no, that was good. It was good. I think you'll understand it. I really do.
Well, a little bit, yeah. But this is the kind of it's a new way to conceptualize, and so with that, obviously, you have to reformulate, because basically, for the most part, I go out and I look at the night and I know the things I know, and I use a telescope, or I might load up Stellarium, but this is an entirely different way to visualize it, because what it basically does, if you take it down to brass tacks, it makes the viewer stationary and firmly foundationally planted, right? That's
Yep.
what the view you're offering here in a way does.
Yep.
So for the first time, the viewer is not some spinning freaking spin cycle lost in space thing. He's firmly on a foundation, watching everything else go on around.
Yeah, it all orbits us,
Right.
each and every one of us.
Which, that's how I think about it now, but it's a little different to see it portrayed
We,
that way.
we all see the same stars and the same sun and moon, but it's all individual to us.
Right. That's one of the biggest things science leads people astray, is to convince us that we all have a common experience, when no matter where we are, which in fact is not true. You perceive the world based on your location within the world, and that's unique to you at that time.
Yep. Exactly that.
Yeah. In other words, time zones are nonsense. Wearing a wristwatch is nonsense.
The time is now.
Right. What exactly? That's exactly right. The time is now, and if you want to do better than that, then you better know where the sun is. If the sun's rising, guess what? It's sunrise. But your sunrise is not that person 500 miles away's sunrise. That's the truth.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm still no closer to the shape of this place, I
Think about it. When you do this, think about a square. I'm not 100%. If I'm right, this is like the whole when I said space might be water thing. You get all this evidence, but it's not quite enough. The idea that this place might be square totally fits with so many of the occulted kind of encoded ideas of everything from less encoded ideas like mandalas to even the idea that the element that represents Earth is the cube, which I included in my last thumbnail for my last podcast. But it needs that something more, like when I said space might be water, it was basically the JFK "we're going to the moon" speech was the last straw. So I took that apart and then I made the statements. I need that similar thing. But it would not surprise me if this place was actually more square than anything.
Yeah, I have thoughts, square maps.
Yeah, you've heard it here first. I mean, I don't know how many people are thinking about that, but it would.
How do you feel about the Pac-Man where you can just go looping? You loop.
Well, based on the equinox stuff we did, we started to look at the spiral idea, which kind of reflects what all the rock carvings, you always see the spiral one way or the other, or like in Chaco Canyon in the United States, where they mark the equinox with a spiral cut in the rock.
Yep.
To some degree, we could kind of start to see it, but the problem is it falls apart in certain, if you're on a spiral model, then any place you look at, you should be able to, at some point, show equal day or night. And yep, there were places where we can't. But that could also be that the Naval Observatory data we were drawing from is nonsense, and most of it looks solid. But did you know that when we had like 20 people going, we were all going to the observatory to get our data for sunrise, sunset, all these things, solar noon, and they locked us out for like 3 days. All of a sudden, one day we were doing our research and they said, "You can't come here anymore. Call the administrator." Well, apparently the other day, one of the guys who frequents my site's been working on, his name is Smith, his username. The Naval Observatory locked it again and won't let people in to see the rise and set time. So apparently human beings don't have the right to know when the sun rises and the moon rises.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to be something, though, that we're going to have to do ourselves.
I think you need a 3D model from each location where you ignore. If I was going to do this just based on this kind of short introduction you've given me right now, what I would do is I would take a human being and call that foundation. Ignore a map. There is no map in this idea. What you're going to do is try to represent with a person foundationally level, not moving through space, how they experience what you've shown. So basically the sky moving around them. Then do that for each location you have data for, and then try to work from there. But as you point out,
we kind of have it, don't we, with Stellarium?
Right.
If you look at Stellarium, that shows you a celestial sphere with a flat Earth.
Right.
And when I
Right.
said that to a Glober, he shut his mouth and just did not say another word because he couldn't argue it.
Yeah, but there's still a problem because theoretically, so if you took Stellarium with that kind of view that you're talking about, if you went to all the locations that are available in the map in that system, you should be able to work out, some sort of
But
a semblance of
Stellarium's wrong.
Right. So that's what I'm
It
pointing
shows
out.
it's slightly wrong. Like for my location, it's wrong. Well, for the ones we've checked so far, it has been slightly out.
Well, what project, that's the problem. If you look at a Mercator projection, it's not the same as a Gall Peters. So that's really the problem. So with what you're doing, if you did the reverse of that, made the person a foundational pillar, just call the person a pillar. All right. This is the observation point. It's not moving through space. And you did it from all the locations, the geographical locations you could get, you could probably start to work out something that couldn't really be very arguable.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
At that point, it doesn't matter if people want to accuse you of smoking peyote, because the truth is what it is. It's an observation. So there's no bias.
And the thing with all this stuff is anyone can do it.
Right.
If you don't believe it, do it for yourself. Prove me wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it won't be that hard, so people are talking about all the observatories closing. There's probably a reason for that, right?
It's because they don't want you, because they know that this is all coming out, isn't it? It is.
Right. If you don't know where you live, you don't know where you can go, do you?
It's exactly that. Does anyone know where they are?
No,
really.
no. Not only do they not know where they are, they don't know when they are.
I'm
So-
right here, that's all I know.
Right. The problem here is that we've all been convinced this is a 3D reality. Well, that's not true. At the very minimum, it's a 4D reality, because without time, there is no reality at all. So that's 4 dimensions. The truth is that the minute you go into space, the coordinates become 6. That's the cube idea, right? So how the hell is a coordinate system in space any different than me 300 feet in the air or a mile underwater? That should be the same coordinate system for space, and that's based on 6, and that is the cube idea. And then truly, if you added the temporal idea, that would be a 7-dimensional reality. You see? 3D reality is nonsense, because at the very basic, no matter how simply you break it down, there is no existence without time, so time has to be counted. So that's minimally 4D, but the truth is any space coordinate is based on 6, so why would being in space dictate a different coordinate system than you being in the middle of the sky or the middle of the ocean? It wouldn't. It's the same, basically.
Craig, would you agree with me? We're multidimensional in our bodies, aren't we? Our heart's beating, we're breathing, we're moving, we're talking, we're eating. There's so many things we can do. Our eyes are moving, we're thinking. We're doing all that in our body. So the only difference is our eyes see it in 3D. That's the bit where we can't quite, yeah. And that's probably why like virtual thing comes in, because you can see it then in another.
But actually,
you
can logically work out it doesn't make sense, the 3D idea. Because first of all, without any animation tool, so go into a animation tool or a video editor, it's going to give you a timeline. Within that timeline, you can move sideways, up and down, or front and back in some of them if it's a 3D. But you see, it doesn't do anything unless there's a timeline, right? So that has to be part of it. There's no separating that from it. But the truth is we all know, if you go out into the middle of your yard right now, you can move just like a chess piece as an example. You can go diagonal, you can go frontwards, backwards, side to side, or if you could fly, you could go diagonally up, or if you could dig, you could go diagonally down. So truly, if you logically work it out, the idea of a 6 coordinate system like would be represented in space, which is the 6 idea, the cube idea, which is what I'm saying about the world being a square, and all alchemical texts saying this is the cube, is the earth idea, the angles of sorrow, 90 degrees, then truly you begin to understand the myth of forcing people to think in 3 dimensions. Complete myth. Again, another thing detached from reality in the same way your wristwatch is, right?
Carry on.
I don't know. Maybe we all need to do some drugs to get
No, I'm just taking it all in.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just thinking it's like northeast, southwest, up, down.
Well, right, but if you truly were like floating in the middle of the air, what are all the directions you could go? It's not
Everywhere.
just front and back, up and
No.
down, side to side. It's more than that.
Well, yeah,
So if you truly wanted to do it, the number of directions you could do would be bounded in a 360-degree sphere, right? But if you want to narrow it down, then you probably just go with the diagonals. Diagonal up, left, up, right, down, left, down, right. You end up being with the 6 diagonal or a 6 coordinate system, which is what's used in space, which represents the truth of this place, which is intricately tied to the cube. And the cube is 90 degrees, and that is the angles of sorrow by all the ancient peoples. So it's a bit like saying we're here now, but we have to go through hardship and necessity here. You know, we have to do this hard thing right now. It's that. And all the older cultures knew about it. Right. It's not easy, you know. And if we all understood it wasn't easy, we'd probably treat each other better, for one thing. But all these things are hidden. You know, if you saw another human being and understood that person has to survive through the winter, and that is hell, that's not going to be easy. You'd probably treat other people differently. Right? You probably wouldn't be at war. You know, it's very easy for them to push the idea of needing to be at war.
That's why we had communal things where people used to gather.
Right. You would respect life because you would understand.
They would get together throughout the winters, wouldn't they, and help each other.
Look at the Arabic idea of in the middle of the desert, the Bedouins. Doesn't matter if you're mortal enemies. If your mortal enemy shows up and says, I need hospitality, you give it to him. You know why? Because you will drop dead in the desert if you don't get hospitality. So there's a culture still recognizing what I'm saying here. There is no enemy at that point. That's a person that needs help, and I will render that help, regardless of whatever the situation is. You will offer that hospitality. These are the things that get shuffled by the wayside. It's how we're all so easily convinced that a war needs to happen. It's been a few years since we've had another big declaration of war. It's coming, but watch how many people are so easily convinced, oh, we need to have a war. No, there is never a time in reality when you need to have a war. Never, ever. And most people hearing that will think, well, how can that be true? And that's the problem, because you think there's a 3D reality.
Yeah, very nicely put there, Crrow777.
I think you can't add nothing to that, really.
No, you said it all.
No, like you've just, you hit the nail bang on the head there, man. You do every time.
It's not.
It's common sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing. It's not. You don't get an award for saying that. It's just freaking common sense. And there was a time in this world when every adult had it. And the modern age has been all about removing common sense, convincing people that Bigfoots and Loch Ness monsters and aliens and red buttons that can destroy the world and nuclear weapons, all this nonsense has led us all so many of us can't use common sense anymore. If you get back to common sense, then these things are not a mystery anymore.
No, we have a saying around here, and we say to people, keep it simple, stupid.
If you ever have a problem in your life and you boil it down to the most basic you can think about it, you will certainly come closer to dealing with it. Everybody is so, science just goes around making our world way more complex than it needs to be. The ancients had 4 elements, 5 if you want to include ether. How many freaking elements does science have now? I don't know. Last few I heard. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Einsteinium. Well, Einstein's a liar. So anyone who wants to name an element after a liar, I don't know what to think about that.
They kind of taught us we've had things like light years and all these kind of things that don't exist.
No, they don't exist. Exactly. And a common sense mind would never accept it. But the problem is we've all been raised in school in the modern era in a system devoid of common sense. As a matter of fact, you're an idiot if you employ common sense.
The time is just now. All a clock is tracking the sun. That's all the clock does. Just
Well,
tracks the daylight.
It tries. It's a poor replica. It's a corrupted effort, a man-made synthetic effort at mimicking what the sun does perfectly, actually.
My mate calls it the cock because you have to do stuff because of it.
Right.
Oh, the cock. Oh, I've got to go. The cock's told me, you know.
Right.
He hates it. And it's like, yeah, you bang on there, mate.
Well, it's funny if you look at how did we get this in the modern era, it goes back to the railroad barons in the United States, and of course the British are always in the picture because the British have always been screwing something up somewhere in the world. And then when America came along, they got on board to help screw up things all over the world. But the robber barons in America were the first people to implement time zones. And there it is, man, the wholesale divorce of reality and common sense. The minute you get a time zone, there goes nature out the window. Doesn't make a crap bit of difference when the sun rises. It matters when your clock says time to get up.
Everyone now, like, if you don't wake up to an alarm clock, you are lucky.
I haven't woke up to an alarm clock for as long as well, that's not true. I've had days when I had to get up early. But
yeah, but I mean to go to work. Like,
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
If you don't have to get up to do that, you are blessed.
And notice what your body does. When you do that for long enough, you don't even really need the alarm clock. You'll wake up right before that alarm goes off almost every morning, because that proves how important to have your body in tune with the real cycle of time. But unfortunately, your body's waking up based on an artificial clock, not, you could be doing that to the sun, right? You could be doing it to a true cycle, free of all the synthetic systems.
Well, in the winter time when it's dark, you don't want to get up out of bed because it's dark. It's not time to get up.
Right, it's hell. The winter time is hell. Everyone out there should start thinking, whenever they hear the word hell, that the original allegory is fire and ice. It was the idea of having to live when it's like 10 below outside. That's hell. It just, it became allegorized as fire and brimstone. Of course, you could make the same argument in the desert, couldn't you? The biblical account of Jesus in the desert meeting the devil. It's the same idea as the Arabs in the middle of the desert. Your enemy comes to your door and says, I need hospitality. And you know what? You don't shoot him. You don't punch him in the eye. You don't send him packing. You say, come on in. Here's a drink. We live in the desert, and if I don't help you, you'll be dead before sunrise kind of idea.
You treat people how you would like to be treated.
Which is proof that that's how we should all treat each other all the time, because we're all experiencing in different degrees the same things here. And we are all subject to the exact same systems.
Yeah, the word goes, treat people as you wish to be treated, or what you give out comes back.
Yeah, life is like a mirror, I think. Like, if you treat people like crap, expect to be treated like crap back.
That's right. That's my motto. Anyway, a couple of years ago, I watched a show with 100 greatest inventions all time. And guess what number one was?
The printing press.
No. I would have thought that too. It was top 5, I'm pretty sure. But
telescope?
Alarm clock.
Well, that is the top. That's the top invention. That's the top invention for the corporate rulers, right?
How many millennials in the chat room put iPhone or smartphone?
Yeah. Anyway, the alarm clock. I was like, really?
So you're told it was an invention by monks for praying? That's what you're told, how the clock came about.
Yeah,
the
real importance of any clock ever, synthetic clock, was to help people on boats navigate on ships. That's the real importance.
Yeah.
Beyond that, and I don't even know if I accept that, because long before there was a mechanical anything, the Polynesians settled every damn island in the Pacific, some of them very tiny. And if you ask them how they did it, they said they could tell by the way the waves were moving and other things. So even the need for that clock seems like a push to force you into the mechanical scientific mind of the modern age, when truly older people's, all they needed was nature. They got it done.
Well, it should be everything that you need is right here.
Well, it's not just everything you need, it's all there is. You know, science can try to convince you that plastic is an invention that didn't exist, but the truth is everything that made that plastic came from nature.
Well, yeah, everything you're touching, seeing, everything in front
right.
of you was already here. It never came from anywhere else but here. It was all just dug out the ground.
That's right. So if you look at plastic, what it actually becomes is a corruption of nature, because for that plastic to turn back into something natural will take a hell of a long time, where back in the natural science days, they didn't make crap that couldn't be readily turned back into something natural.
And they used a lot more hemp.
Right. Look at glass. Glass is a good example. Even metals, when metals come along, you know, they rust pretty quickly. They become oxidized. They go back into the next element based on the four elemental idea. And glass is the same thing. I see it all the time here at the beach. You know, the glass, someone breaks beer bottles or something and it becomes beach glass, but slowly but surely it becomes sand, then silica, then it's back, you know, in the cycle of things. But when you start to add plastic, that's a corruption. It's toxic for quite a while before it turns back into something natural.
Yeah, but you can make stuff now out of, you know, people do it, don't they? Out of hemp, they make plastic like type bottles out of hemp that rot down in 6 weeks.
There's a huge movement afoot all over to get back to better foods, to get back to better ways of living, closer to the older ways. You know, it's literally is back to the future right now, right? It kind of really is that.
That's why, like my granddad, he lived till he was 93, yet he smoked and drank his whole life.
Goes to show you.
Because he went out in his garden every day and he grew his own fruit. And that is all I can think, that is all I can put it down to. And he never went to the doctors, ever. Like, ever. Until he was 93. And then he just, that was it.
Well, think about the negative news cycle everywhere in the world that has televisions every day, negative, terrible things. That's the mindset that's being created. Your grandfather lived outside of that, probably.
And the best thing to do is turn it off. Don't watch it.
If you're a happy person all your life talking to a tree and growing things in your garden, I dare say you got a better chance at living a long, happy life than someone who listens to whatever Trump or Obama or some other clown is pushing today with all their fear porn, because that's a negative, low level vibration. And that it's like the tuning idea we talk about. You know, do you tune to 440 or do you turn to 432? Well, that television is tuning you. If you listen to it, all that negative news and 9/11 and school shootings, it's lowering your vibration as a human being. Truly, it's why they're doing it, because it's reducing you. It's minimizing your ability.
I agree. Turns you into an NPC. That's what we call them.
Is that a Tron reference?
Yeah, it's just like a non-player person, you know. And they're just roboting their life, like bzz, 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 get up, work, get home, food, soaps, news, shower bed. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Robots.
Well, I'll tell you what here. I got about 6:30, so I got to get on. Stan, get my email from Karen. Kick me an email. I'll get you logged in. Thanks for showing all that stuff. Karen, sorry I can't spend more time.
So
I gotta,
long, man. I know.
I got to keep moving here. I got to get dinner and get some things done.
I'm really pleased that you've met Stan now, because I knew that you really liked that Crrow777.
Well, we just got a common thing, haven't we?
Yeah, Z Proxy and Cosmic Surfer. I know they've talked to me about this before. It's just simply time. That's what it is. I'm hoping I'll get behind the scope here before too long. I can actually, the doctor says this week I can lift my scope again, so we will see.
Just take it easy.
Yeah,
Very much.
I'm going to go in easy. Yeah.
That'd be cool to see again, though, Crow.
All right, man. I'll catch you all. Thank you for having me on. Stan, kick me an email later on this evening. I'll set it up. And if I have time, Karen, ping me again, and I'll see what I can do.
Of course. Thank you, Crrow777.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers to everyone in the chat. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Hey, Stan.
Nice.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was good. I like Crow.
Crow is awesome because he has so many subjects that he's an expert in, really, researches.
Yeah, he is well down the hole.
Even into a square flat earther. I wanted to say something, but I didn't. Well, I was going to, but I didn't get a chance. But our group started off as a square flat earth group, but then all the information came in, everybody got a bit mad, and then as a group we decided, well, we've seen that now. Yeah, and we can't prove anything, can we? None of us, whether it's, well, hopefully Des can. You know, so we decided to move on with the people. But Stan, can I just say something? I know that you probably don't know this person, but he's called the Boogeyman channel. He's got some really interesting stuff. Can I just add him because he's been dying to get on?
Yeah, Adam. That'd be cool.
And Andrew, I think his name is, but the Boogeyman. Okay, I'm going to send him the link. Boogeyman, I'm emailing you.
Boogeyman can. Unfortunately, people, I have to go to bed. It's 12:30 here for me. It's rather late in the evening as well, not in the daytime.
Aww.
Did you?
Hey, but can I just say
that clock
something?
again? Look.
Can I just say something?
That damn clock.
Can I just say something before I go?
Of course.
You know, I love Crow because he has the best sayings. You know, he just has such. I mean, they're amazing. He said, "If it's got legs, it'll walk."
That's right,
I'm sat
baby.
at the table here and it ain't moved, man. So, Crow, you're wrong.
He gets very
good.
deep in whatever he wants to get into because he's into the straw
That's
man.
like
And
he
all.
says though, like if it's truth, it'd be the truth is the truth. You know, and that's it.
That's it.
Hi, Boogie. Good evening, gentlemen.
That's like he says though.
Boogeyman, we can hear you. You have to turn the live feed off, whatever.
Oh, all right, my fault. Sorry. I knew I was forgetting something. What I feel so bad for those guys, man. You guys have been online for like 4 hours now. Like, maybe we try this some other time, huh?
No, Stan's
What
here.
guys? What guys?
It's just me. I've got to go to bed because I've got to be quiet. I'm sorry, but I'll keep listening. I will keep listening. But please, I'll write in the chat if there's anything, and I'm still awake. But I have to say good night, and I thoroughly enjoyed tonight, Karen. Thank you very much.
Hey, Astral, that was awesome, man. I was doing this thing called F times D. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's force times distance. And force times distance is work. It's the definition of work in the scientific world.
Yeah.
So I was pretty quiet, but I was working my ass off. So anyway, force times distance. F times D.
Nice one. I'm listening in. Thank you very much to all in the chat. Love you all. And as always, the earth is flat.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
Dan, that stuff that you were busting out, man, was really good, dude.
Nice one. It's just what's happening though. Like it's what goes on every night above your head, mate.
No, I'm loving it. I don't know if you know the avid sky watcher that I attempt to be, but I'm constantly sitting outside, constantly looking up. But it's great to see the documentation of it. Like these sort of updated models are the things that make you guys different from other people. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of work that just thank you so much. Seriously. My website just minutes got finished. We were switching over from an old server, which I've had for over 10 years, and its speed said it all. And it was just slow and nasty and gross. And we just switched over to a new server, so we are celebrating over here. We have our own like Facebook basically, but it's for woke folks. Glober's not allowed. Flat Earth all day. Thank God. But I don't know. I want to put your pictures on that. That's where I'm getting at with this. Sorry. The images that you just shared with Crrow777, I would love to post those up there with your name, of course. and links back to wherever you would want to. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll contact you later.
Yeah, we'll sort it out. We'll do all that. Just over. We're nearly at the weekend, didn't we? I don't even know. Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah. Stan has been like, for anybody that doesn't know, Stan's been coming on and off Sun and Moon for a long time and trying to tell everybody about 360, haven't you, Stan?
Yeah, like that video I was showing, that was 2007, I think.
Oh my God.
Let me have a look. 14th of September 2007.
I am so glad you guys got Crrow777 back up and working, man. That guy stopped doing videos, and he had awesome work, man. And I don't know, he just disappeared. I think it was right around the time he got his channel closed down, and I don't know what happened. He just disappeared. Like you guys are the first.
He's got his own radio show.
Podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I miss seeing his face, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he did some great video work, but hopefully he'll be back at it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so, because honestly, I think with you guys getting at him, nipping at his heels, I'm going to start nipping at his heels too, because I want to try and do some work with him.
It'd be good to, like, once I chat with Crow, see who else he talks to, because you never know. We need others to come in to do tasks, because, you know, there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Like, mainly. And there's only so much you can do. There's, you know, there's so much time in a day, and that is it. And then you have to sleep, and then you've got other things, and it's hard to do everything you want to do.
Stan, you needed more people doing this because you're a bit frustrated because you've got your people, but we need more and more and more.
And it's people to do other things as well. Like there's, you know, just like documenting stuff. It's just doing stuff is hard, you know.
Yeah,
trying to get stuff done is a lot of work.
Stan, what are you planning on doing with those images? Like, are you going to put out a book, or is it just standard research kind of stuff? What are you got planned?
Man, I plan on finding out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't like. For me, it's all about just knowledge, understanding. You know, that is where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to make a name for me or anyone. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Where am I?
Yeah.
Where are we? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of people I'm noticing that they, you know, there's quite a few different types of people, but you run into some of those folks that say, like, who cares? Who cares? Who cares if it's flat or right? Like,
I hate that.
I'm like, how do you not care? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the biggest deception of all time, you know, and that's great if you decide that you don't give a damn, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's people out here that do, you know, and they take it very seriously, and I get that.
Mm.
And my people were so impressed by you guys. I just want you guys to know that. They've been singing Sun and Moon Family United for quite a bit. The Flat Earth guy, they loved you. They were singing you guys' praise for sure. You guys have got something real special here with this panel. Keep up the good work, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Nice one. But yeah, no, we definitely need others to do stuff, you know, but there is a lot. We should call it the boring company, like what Elon Musk did, man, because there's times it's just work, you know.
Yeah, there's nothing exotic about it, right?
I'll sit there in an evening sometimes, you know, and I'll just film the moon every hour. Just get up, go film the moon, sit down, wait another hour, and then I sit there looking at it, and then I go out and film it in the next hour, or take pictures of it for ages, you know, just watching it, waiting for stuff to happen.
Feel you on that. Let me show you something pretty cool. Last year in April, my wife and I, we lost our son. That's not what this conversation is about, but it forced us to go outside. You know what I mean? We bought some telescopes, we went out there, we were filming, and we just did not stop filming. We filmed straight for an entire year. That's all we did. And we not only filmed, but we documented it. I have no idea why. We just kept kept hold of this stuff. We would never throw it away. And we started opening up server after server on those Google Drives. And for the longest time, we didn't know why we were keeping this stuff. And then finally, I started writing this book about the moon, which I shared with you guys last time I was on. But I wanted to show you guys these images. This is the next book that I'm putting out afterwards. How can I share this link? Throw it in the
side chat.
Yeah, okay. Check this out. So these are the professional moon shots that I'm putting out right now, but they came out awesome. For an entire 3 months, all I did every day was I was using my computer to stack images. Are you guys, Flat Earth Dude, I think you're very familiar with probably stacking images. Is that correct? You do astrophotography with your telescope?
I think he's working, man.
But
Just put it in the chat room, Stan.
let me know if you guys see that. Is Flat Earth Dude in here?
Yeah, but I think he's just doing something because obviously he's 8 hours behind us, so it's still in a working day, isn't he?
Yeah, okay. So he keeps logged in with you guys even when he's at work then, huh?
Yeah, as much as you can, yeah.
So that link that I shared with you guys, that is going to be book number 2, which I might end up, it might be book number 1 because book number 1 is taking way too long to get done. We started looking at it first. The first book that we were putting out, the reason why we started it was because we heard that, oh, the moon, it's hiding all these bases and whatnot. But every time you looked at it, it was just this big blank canvas of a dusty rock, right? And so I tried everything I had a theory. Well, there's no way it's blank because every once in a while you catch something, right? You always hear about people seeing UFOs and bases and all that stuff, right? And I just want to get this out in the open. I do not believe the moon is inhabited, okay? You guys are welcome to your own opinion, but that's mine. I'm just getting that out in the open now. But I had to prove that if this thing is inhabited, then why does it look empty? You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it always look blank? Because I don't believe that people are just going to hang out on the back. You know what I mean? Like, if it's really negative 250 degrees, like, why would you want to be on the back of it? You know what I mean? You're going to want to be on the sunny front side. You know what I mean? Catching some sun. And so they must be using some sort of cloaking fields or something. That's what I was thinking. So I tried everything, and I finally broke through it, right? I broke through, and I found that if you use what's called an IR UV cut filter, that you can get past the cloaking fields of the moon, and you can actually see the bases and UFOs and all that stuff on it, all right? You can see people. They don't move, but they're there, which still sends me down the same road as I think it's just bull. I think it's a holograph or a projection, So you guys still with me?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So I started doing photography on it. And when I used this IR UV cut filter, I could see people, I could see buildings, I could see all that stuff. But like I said, I think it's a holographic projection. Just putting it out there. Now, after we realized how we could get through the cloaking field, then I was like, okay, well, then this damn thing took a turn. All right, well, no longer is the book about that. Now it's about how are they cloaking? How are they holographically projecting it? Is it real? Is it an actual physical object up there, or is it all just a projection? Well, that's what we're going to find out next. So we start more experiments, lasers, all sorts of testing with filters and, inverting images, all that kind of stuff. So then we find out, okay, it is a projection, but it's onto a physical object. It's a parabolic dish up there, some sort of parabolic dish. And they're beaming onto it. But from where here on Earth? Is it from Earth, or is it from some sort of weird satellite up there, some weird UFO? Who knows? I still can't answer that question, but that's the turn that we took in the book. Then we found out it is an actual physical object. You can take a picture of that physical object, but I don't know if it's big enough you can land on it. I don't have that info. You know what I'm saying? It's really weird. So then I'm able to take a picture of the physical object that they actually holographically beam onto. But who are these people? This is where it gets kind of weird, right? And so we started, last time I was on the show, I showed you guys the really weird stuff that we were beaming onto. This was right around the time that this guy got really mad at me. Or I guess mad at you guys for listening to me. But I think you guys were just letting me speak. That's really all it was. I wouldn't say you guys were buying it. I don't blame it. I have no idea what to call this stuff. It's just really weird research. And so I started to share those pictures. I think I was calling it a firmament at that point because I didn't know what the hell else it was, right? And I'm like, it took us till recently till we realized, like, this isn't a firmament over like it's not really like a dome over top of a land. It's more like a dinner plate they're beaming onto. Like, I don't know. I guess my point here is I'm trying to tell you guys, like, we've started out trying to just get past this operating system. Now it's taking a turn to, my God, it's so confusing at this point. Like, we're just trying to figure it all out. So I don't know. I guess the photography book that I had done, that I just sent you guys the link to, that photography is going to end up being the first book in all this because it's the only thing I can nail down as, okay, here's a bunch of pictures. This for sure is the only thing that I can guarantee at this point. Everything else is still up in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell you what shape it is. I can't tell you if it's real. I can't tell you if it's fake. I don't know. But my God, that is one confusing place up there, man. But Karen, I just sent you a picture probably yesterday or the day before. I don't know. The one about the, do you remember seeing the shoe store that I sent you on the moon? Karen, did I put you to sleep? You still there? All right.
It's just muted, man.
Sorry, that's muted. I was talking. Yeah, carry on.
No, I was asking, like, the other day, I can't remember what day it was, but I sent you a picture of something that I caught on the moon. It was something so silly. It was kind of blurry, and for the longest time, I couldn't tell what it was, but I think I had pretty much gone with, I believe it's a shoe store on the moon. I don't know what the hell it is.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's essentially, it's a giant shoe sitting on some sort of platform. Well, I was on a show the other day where this guy had added all sorts of filters to this thing and found that it was a guy sitting inside of that damn shoe that I sent you. Do you still have it?
Yeah, somewhere in emails. But you want to show it?
No, I was just thinking if you wanted to, because I'm not on my computer, but I'm on my way.
Sure where that is right now.
That's all good. Don't worry about it. Just shoot the shit.
We've emailed each other quite a lot.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I think I got it here.
Mind you, I did actually mention in the Hangout that you showed us pictures with the moon on some sort of blue track. You could see it's on like a, tell Stan that. Yes, the track system. Is that what we're talking about, track system? Yeah, probably a bit like what he's showing us in his virtual reality, really, isn't it? That's actually what I thought that Stan was showing was, I thought maybe you guys had kicked that idea to him and he was able to prove it a little bit more than any one of us were. But yeah, there's this weird track system that I see that when you turn your ISO and your f-stops, set them to where they need to be, I'm seeing this line that comes out of the back of the moon and I can't seem to unsee it. I mean, this thing, no matter where I'm shooting or on what day, as long as it's clear enough and you've got a high enough ISO, you can see a very defined line coming out of the back. Now, I've seen people not only see it, but then we're seeing Saturn has one, the moon has one, the sun has one, Jupiter, they all have one. But again, I mean, I'm not a big believer anymore in the actual planets. I'm more of a believer in there's a parabolic dish up there and somebody's holographically projecting onto it. You know what I mean? The image thereof of a planet. Where are you guys at with your research with all that? Like, you guys buying the whole planet thing? It's okay. There's no right or wrong answer.
What do you mean?
Well, what I'm asking is, like, are there planets? Are there stars? Like, where are you at? I mean, it's okay. Like I said.
Can we go there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. Can we go there?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
No.
There might be other worlds, but that's a different thing altogether.
I think that's a great way of putting it. Because I said it the other day. I had just put out a new video, and when I said there is no moon, I just said it, and it was like, it dawned on me, like, holy shit, I just said that out loud, didn't I? I was like, well, I guess there's no moon. I was like, I guess that's where I'm at right now. And it's
like that scene from The Matrix, isn't it, when he sat there with the spoon, and he just goes, there is no spoon. Yeah, he sat there looking at the spoon, you know, and that's like the same with the moon.
It's weird, right?
It's the same sort of thing, though.
No, absolutely. I think that's a great analogy. I cannot put my hand on it. Like, I don't know when it dawned on me. I don't know when I started believing this, but like, where we are, I think we're in a world of all of our own. I think there's nothing really around us, you know, except for a bunch of things in order to holographically project a bunch of bull into our eyes. But it's weird, man. I don't know. I wonder if it's always been like this, I guess. You ever given any thought to that? Like, how long has it been like this?
I've given thoughts to stuff that I know I'm not going to get answers for, you know. I've got things going on that I know you're just never going to answer, because there's the unobtained, you know, it's just unobtainium. There's a lot of it.
I like that. Some unobtainium. Yeah, there's
It's unobtainium.
I was looking into, I don't really know what to call it, anti-density technology, anti-gravity technology, whichever way you want to spin this. But what's stopping us from creating that sort of thing on our own? I mean, from back in the day when they kicked down the doors at the Glock. Are you familiar with the World War II technologies of the Nazis and how they were developing that bell-shaped craft called the Glock? Have you heard of that one before?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and one ran on electric magnet, basically, didn't it?
Yeah, like a red mercury or something, I think they called it. And it was something as simple as spinning red mercury in two different directions at the same time on a high RPM level, right? So that's really all it took in order to gain anti-density technology, anti-gravity technology, whatever you want to call it. And they made it sound extremely simple. Well, I've been catching some crafts lately, real or fake, I don't know. But when you break it down, you look at these crafts, you realize that these things are very see-through. And it's not see-through in the fact that they're transparent, but you can see all the moving parts that take these things up into the air. In this craft, I saw a total of maybe 5 compartments, very small. Out of those 5 compartments, let's say there were 2 compartments that were shut off, meaning there was probably about 6 inches on either side where they could have stored something that could have taken this thing up into the air. Let's say those things were red mercury. All right. On one side, you spin it one way, on the other side, you spin it another. It seemed very simple to me. But like, what am I missing here? Like, why are we, as a civilization, not depending on our governments and taking these kind of crafts up into the air? I mean, why can't we create that? Is red mercury something that's difficult to get a hold of? You ever heard anything like this?
You can't have something for nothing. That's what they tell you. And that's why they don't want you having something for nothing, you know?
Yeah.
That's why you have to pay for your electric and pay for your water and pay for everything.
Good way of putting
it. Because if you're getting hit for free, why are you going to work?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
You're not going to go to work. You're going to all combine and start thinking, man, we're not living on a ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, totally. Absolutely. I just...
you get a lot of spare time to yourself. You start looking up, don't you? And if you're
sure?
not, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Hey, when you first fell down this rabbit hole, you find yourself kind of getting depressed or angry?
I was relieved in a way.
Yeah? Tell me about it.
It's like a weight lifted off of just like nonsense that made sense for once. You know?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Like I just stumbled on it by pure coincidence one night about 3 years back. I watched Making of a Murderer. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix. Stephen Avery. If anyone in the chat hasn't watched it, they should do. It's a good watch. But basically it's about a guy in it, and he was framed for murder, and I don't think he did it, you know. I watched it and I think there's so much contradicting crap in that, and I just got so engrossed in it for the time I was watching it. I just couldn't put it down, you know. And then once I'd finished, I was like, sort of bored now. I need something else. YouTube documentary. Looking down through one night, it was about 12 at night, man. I clicked on a video that said the greatest secret ever told. I was like, that looks bloody interesting to me. Do you know what I mean? Greatest secret ever told. I want to know about this. I was flat. I was like, shut up. Right. Next video. Man, actually. And then I got to the Bay's 200 proofs. And I was like, I'm getting out of bed. It was about 3 in the morning, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, this is getting to me now. I'm getting out of bed. Because I couldn't dismiss it straight away. There was something to it, you know what I mean? And I was like, man. Right, when I was a kid, my old man told me that's Polaris and it's there. And that's your North Star. And I went out there and I was like, it's still there, man. Right, back upstairs, more videos. By 6 o'clock, mate, I was starting to think the world was flat. I just needed to prove what it was. Do you know what I mean? And instead of looking then, I thought, like, no one's going to tell me. I need to work this out for myself. Yeah. That's when we did what we did, and we started to do what we're doing. And that's when you find the people that are doing what you're doing. And then you come together and you find a little bit more out and you talk about stuff. And we've had hours and hours of conversations, you know, like before we knew what was going on, of just what is going on. Just baffled.
You're such a slacker.
It's terrible.
It's terrible, man. No,
no, but there's like, you know, I spent like hours just looking at stuff, trying to work it out for myself, you know, like looking at the moon, thinking, why is it upside down there? Why is it doing this? Why is it coming from that way and doing that? What is going on? Why the stars? I just knew the stars is going to tell you the truth. The stars do hold the key, you know, they tell you where you are. And they do. They tell you where you are. On this plane of existence, they tell you where you are.
Yeah.
A lot of the Globers, you know, when you talk to them about flat Earth, they're like, well, they use the moon constantly as a proof, I guess, of what they think the shape of the Earth is. But when I look at the moon, I don't see a ball there. I definitely see a coin shape, no doubt. I see round, but I don't see ball. And I don't know if you guys have ever done this where you've overexposed pictures, you know, whether on purpose or by accident.
Yeah, you can see the other bit.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. You can actually get...
No, I do it all the time.
You can get the lens flare of the moon, and it shows it like clear as day that damn thing is flat and domed. And, but man, it drives them crazy. Hey, is Demon Hunter in here? Is that what you're saying? Karen, are you saying hi to Demon Hunter? There he is. Yeah. What's up, Demon? Oh, but yeah, man, that.
Yeah, I was saying hello.
Yeah, I just saw that. Sorry about that. That's my homeboy.
All right.
I love that guy.
But no, the moon is still, it's a mystery to me, man.
Yeah.
Although I know what I know about the moon, there's stuff you're never gonna know about it. You know?
Yeah. I used to rack
what makes that thing? You've ever got? I don't think you're ever really gonna know what creates that light in the sky that you look at. You know.
You do think it's its own light, though, yeah?
Well, it's shining now, and it's dark out. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It does relate to the sun in many ways with its light.
It ain't bouncing UV light, man. I can't do it. I try to wrap my head around that part. I don't see the UV light. Even when I cut it out, it's still the same brightness. Because you can use UV IR.
I'm not saying it is I'm just saying it does. Like now, the sun, if you imagine that you don't have to imagine, you've got a tire around you or a hula hoop, say, and the sun and the moon are going around you. And at the minute, the sun is in front of you and the moon is behind you, but the moon is slightly round to your right. So that's what it's like at the minute. That's why there's a partial dark bit on the moon. Yeah. And then as it goes round to the sun, it goes to new moon. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it goes around, but there's like, you could look at that thing every day and I don't think you're going to work out exactly what everything is about it. There's new things all the time I look at and think, Christ, that's, you know, it's doing that and it's doing this. And
it's interesting for sure. It's well, like when I first dove down that rabbit hole and I was getting into the moon and doing my research on it, like I jumped in, thank God, not knowing anything about it. So I was not tainted by anyone else's idea because I didn't ask them about it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to hear what they had to say, you know? It's like, you know, I wanted to go in there not knowing anything. And I wanted to go in there without a tainted view. And I didn't want, because that's the one thing that always happens is, you know, you want to research on something, you start asking people, well, it never fails. You end up running into that one guy that wants to jam all the worst ideas down your damn throat. And as much as you don't want to listen to him, you end up listening.
What did you learn at school about the moon? Nothing.
Not much. I didn't pay attention, you know.
Yeah, but you didn't learn nothing, really. They didn't tell you nothing about the moon. They didn't tell you nothing about the stars, apart from they're far away. And they're all suns and bollocks.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you ever heard of that?
You know what I mean? Pardon?
That somoluminescence. You ever heard of that before? The star in a jar.
Star in a jar. I've seen that video.
It's awesome. I mean, it is so awesome. I've been getting into a lot of frequency work lately, and I don't mean healing frequencies. I mean, like, we discovered a frequency the other day by total accident that when you play it back, causes lightning to strike out of the sky. And this is documented, recorded, and I'd love to show it to you guys. It's unbelievable. But so we started messing around with more frequencies. So last night we played a frequency that made the wind blow. This is all documented. This is amazing. And so this frequency for somoluminescence, when you play it into water, creates a bubble. When that bubble then collapses, it creates a light, a beautiful light. And it creates a star by all intents and purposes. That's how stars are born, in my personal opinion. I think that somoluminescence is, by all intents and purposes, the most amazing thing that I've ever seen in my life. And I think that it is the God particle. And I think that Tesla was right, that if you want to understand the world and the universe around you, that you need to understand frequencies and vibrations. And I never got it until I recorded a frequency that made lightning strike out of the air. And that is unbelievable. And it didn't just do it one time, bro. It did it 50 times. And then so I had other people try it. Same stuff. They all got it to happen too, with the same frequency. And it is unreal, man. There are really things out there. You can play a frequency that makes lightning strike or wind blow.
Well, there's something going on with frequencies, definitely. We're living in like, everything is a frequency, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, it's repeatable, Chillster. Check my channel. It's called Boogie Mates Lightning. Can I show it, you guys? Do you guys mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get off though because it's getting on. It's gone 12 now, man.
Yeah, bro, you've been on for a long time, and I'm really sorry for keeping you on like this. You
No,
showed
that's
up.
cool, man. But yeah, it's all up on my channel, man. Go have a look, you know.
I will. I'm going to sub to you right now.
Hey, Stan. Thank you, brother.
No
Stan, I
worries.
hope you this evening anyway. I'm so
Yeah.
pleased you got the computer going.
Yeah,
Dan,
that was not very much fun at the beginning. I was just sat here looking at it thinking, what are you doing? I was checking it all and it's like, no, it's good, I'm all right. And then it's like, join then. No, I can't. What? Just do it.
That's those forces, man, that work against us sometimes, man.
It's because I was rushing and my vibes.
Yeah, you're rushing and trying to get it. Oh man, gotta go. Yeah, it happens, man.
No, I've had a busy day, man.
Me too, man. And you got through it. I'm getting through my day.
Yeah,
we're persevering, man. We're persevering, man.
It's good.
You and Crrow today, man, bro. Really? That was ridiculous, man. You guys should have hooked up a long time ago. Wow.
Yeah, it's
man,
good. It's happened now, you know.
Yeah, it's the right time. I think he's got a little more free time now to really look at your stuff and what he brings to the table, man. You guys, you know, he's got a great set of eyes for that shit, man.
That's it. Now it must have, you know, he wasn't ready then. Now he's ready for it. It was all meant to be tonight, you know. It was made to be. So
Stan, we put you together then, Stan.
Yeah, that was good.
Man. Well, he's gonna get you on that membership. And then you're gonna get in that blog, man, and link those guys up, man. See what they come up with too, man, because that'll be great.
Yeah, that's it. We hopefully progress from here.
Yeah.
See what happens, and then we'll come back next time with more stuff to show. Hopefully, you know.
You might find your way forward in that, Stan, because I know that it's a bit like, in a sense, there's not millions more videos because you're not stuck, frustrated because you need more.
It's not just that, it's about understanding. You need everyone to look at what we're doing and have knowledge of it and tell the next person, hey, have you seen this? Look at this. Check this stuff out. That's how your spine works, man.
You said something earlier, man, really just struck me upside the head, but every kid in school should get a set of those VRs and get to see that shit.
Yeah, they should come out of school knowing how to navigate this earth.
I'm gonna put together something, man. I'm gonna sell all those schools of fucking VRs, man. I'm pissed. Every one of them should be looking at that, going and seeing it for themselves and making their own conclusions and observations.
Of course they should.
Absolutely necessary, man. So
you shouldn't be told what to believe. You should believe.
Exactly.
What you know what you know is true.
Exactly.
That is. Dude. Otherwise, it is just a belief.
Yep.
That's like Crrow said the other night in a hangout. He said, "You've got to forget your beliefs and just know what's true."
Well, he also says, "Belief is the enemy of knowing."
Exactly.
That's one of the greatest lines I've ever heard, man. Like, that is perfect. I do drop that in a few chats here and there occasionally. About 5 or 6 times a week.
That's good.
So I know you said that you wanted to go in a minute, but I think actually that Boogeyman did want to just show you something. Is that right, Boogeyman?
No, it's all good. Stan, go home. I will get a hold of you. But before
I'll be back anyway.
Let everybody know what your channel is, dude.
Let's just Stan
Smith, man.
Okay, let me.
About 300 Stan Smiths come up. So
yeah, that's the trouble. Put in Stan Smith 360 or Flat Earth, and you'll find a video.
Stan Smith is the guy that was doing the moon modeling, right?
That's the same guy.
Oh, they were telling me about you on the last hangout I was on, man. That is really cool. All right, so there it is. All right. All right, I found your channel. I'm subbing to you right now, Chief. It was good to meet you, Stan.
Yeah, and you. Likewise. I'm sure we'll meet again anyway.
I hope
for
so.
sure, man.
It's all about coming together and working our way through this. You know, this is beyond one man.
Oh yeah, beyond 1,000.
This is like the ultimate test. You know, life really. It's about just consciousness and working your way through it all and being the best you can at something. You know, putting in the effort.
You put out that good energy like that, Stan. What you've done, and it's all coming back to you, brother. I know it is, man. And my goodness, I put out some good energy, and so much has come my way. I couldn't be more thankful, man. Just hanging out with you today was just Crrow. Listening to you guys, man, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, I was pleased for Stan as well, because he's been trying for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah. Like a year we were trying to get hold of Crrow for.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was busy. He said about his operation and stuff. He said he wasn't well.
Yeah,
He was
he's been
dealing with
busy.
stuff. So that's what I mean. It wasn't time. So it was time now. The time was now.
That's right.
Anyway,
Yeah, well,
Love it.
I should give him I should give you his, and you give him yours later.
Cheers, brother.
well, I'm gonna carry on watching anyway, so I can see what you're gonna be sharing. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get finished up and sorted.
Love you, Stan. Thank you very much. See you soon, then, my darling.
Right, you take care, all.
Thank you. Patricia's there, by the way. She's put some kisses in there.
All right.
Hello.
Thank you.
Love you, Stan.
All right.
Cheers. Right. Bye-bye.
Stan, thank you.
Take care, all.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hey, Boogie Man.
So you guys
Where's,
watching on the screen? Can everybody
Specs,
see
man? Where's
Can you guys
Specs
see
at?
that? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Where's
Okay,
your wife at?
She is talking to her sister on the phone right now, but I can see her looking over. I think she finally realized I was online with you guys.
All right, cool, man.
Can I just say, while we're talking about your wife, Beck?
Yeah.
Can we? Can you just tell her about the email about the ladies' night?
Yes, and she wants in on.
Yeah. Get her on there. That would be awesome. Ladies' night is awesome, man.
I heard ladies drink free that night, or are they still paying? What's the cover?
No, the guys get to drink free. The girls, they get to chat.
Perfect. All right, so I have got some madness on the stream right now. I think the last time I hung out with you guys, this wasn't even a thing yet. Do you guys remember? I didn't mention anything about this, right? Like it wasn't.
Nope, nothing. Not a.
All right, so
this is first I heard of it, man.
Dude, this is dope. This happened like, I don't know, maybe a day or two, even after I hung out with you guys. A lot of things have been happening lately. And I mean, like, so many things are happening lately. I feel like a liar. Have you ever had
You're
where
just
you're
full
like,
of it, Andrew, man.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I'm like, this really happened. And so did that. And I'm like, I don't even know what's special anymore. Like, it's all so fun. I'm like, it's ridiculous. So,
hey, man, you're putting out energy. You're getting it back, man. That's what's
I
going
guess
on.
so, man. Like, I tell people, I'm on a mission from God, dude. Like, I don't know.
No doubt, right?
That guy
Awesome.
is talking to me, like, straight up, like, here, son, I need you to got it, Pops.
Share this with the world. Share this with the world. Here, share this with the world. All right, show us what you got, man. I'll shut the heck up.
All right, so here it is, guys. So I recorded a frequency. I was trying, and by frequency, I mean I was trying to show my buddy, Robbie's Guy Killer, that there were these, like, you know what? I'm just going to shut up. Let's just play the damn thing. It explains everything. This is the meat and potatoes of it, and then we'll explain why it's happening, or at least why I think it's happening right afterwards. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, guys. So we figured out that we can run a frequency from our phone and make the lightning go off. Now watch this. Boom! Like clockwork. Like fucking
Do it
clock.
again.
Okay, guys. We're gonna make this happen. It's gonna set off a frequency that's gonna make the lightning go off.
Well, you know, we can hear two things. I can hear I can hear a playback and the video.
What's that?
There's like you talking on the video, and then there was someone else talking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say right now. So what I'm doing is I'm playing a frequency from my cell phone. That frequency is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Are you ready for this? The frequency is me talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, saying buckets of gum. Okay?
I'm here to bump you up.
Yes. So do you guys remember the video where Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about how when I'm bumping and I'm bumping and it feels like I'm coming? Well, I was saying as I was recording something. This is how stupid it is, Karen. I'm so sorry about this. But this is the harsh reality. You don't get to choose what works in the world. You know what I mean? Like this just so happened it worked. So I was recording something for my friend. When I was recording it, I was speaking in my worst Arnold Schwarzenegger accent, right? And when I played it back, I noticed that every time I played this video, that the lightning struck. And I was like, this is so stupid. No way. No way these people are related. Well, yes way, my friends. Every time I played this, the lightning struck. And so I had my wife video record as this thing kept happening and happening. Every time we played it, the lightning would strike 50 times in a row. Then I was like, okay, well, no way it would work for anyone else. Well, I hate to tell you, I sent this frequency out to everybody. Anyone who wanted to record it and try it themselves was welcome to. And I hope that everyone tries this. You can find the link underneath in the video description. Try it yourself. Everyone's having a really good time with it. So you play it back.
We're all gonna try that. We'll all be trying that shit tonight, man.
It's a lot of fun. And I'm really sorry that I'm saying what I'm saying on it. You're gonna have to listen. You're gonna have to listen to me say, I'm coming like 50 times as you're playing it back. And I'm really sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
You don't
We'll
get
survive. We'll survive.
All right, cool. So when I'm talking about grid patterns, this is what I'm talking about. And you're about to hear that right now. So I'm now sorry.
All right.
You hear me say grid pattern. What I'm talking about is I was trying to find an example for Robbie Skykiller. He and I had gotten into a conversation about grid patterns that you'll get on your digital device, whether it be a camera, your cell phone, whatever you're shooting on. You'll see these grid patterns just before you start to see a hologram. Now, these grid patterns are caused by some sort of electromagnetic frequency or charge. Something is causing these digital anomalies. I was trying to explain them to Robbie and trying to find an example. And last night I got a really good example, although it's just a little too dark to use here. You'll see it a little bit later. But I've gotten these digital anomalies so many times that I'm just using these other pictures instead, just so you get a better view of exactly what it was I was trying to catch for you. When I caught this, then I also caught this frequency, which we are theorizing, we are pretty positive, is causing lightning strikes. All right, so let's get back to it. Sorry. So when you guys see this grid pattern, that's off a frequency that some machine in the sky can hear.
Oh my
Whoa!
You ready? Next 30 seconds.
I just got that grid pattern in the sky.
Fuck, I'm trying to drive here.
There it was.
God.
There you have it, guys. All right, guys. Now, I know this is I know that is a big pill to chew and swallow. Like I said, I do not choose. This is big, okay? It's very weird stuff. So last night, we started to look up what other frequencies could do, me and my wife. And so we found a frequency that when you play it, the wind blows. really hard, like not like tornado or anything crazy, thank God. But the window blown.
Good
Now, what were you
gust of
gonna-
wind.
Yeah, nice one. And it was totally obvious that it was from this. So we would stop. We'd make sure no wind was blowing. Then we'd play the frequency, put it up. Wind starts blowing. You're like, what the hell is going on here, guys? Like, there is a lot more to this story, man. And so, you know, I know it's not very sun and moon related, but guys, we are unlocking some really cool stuff here, man. And I wouldn't call this research as much as I would call it just nosy Nelly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do here, man. This is like this stranger. The more stuff you realize about this world, the stranger it gets. You know, I don't get this kind of.
I think that's how Stan feels with all this information and what to do with it.
Yeah. It's getting to the point now where it's like, I used to be like,
do you think you're picking up on something like HARP? That is HARP in the workings.
I don't know.
With the microwave.
Have you guys ever seen my Glitch in the Matrix video? Like, that's pretty much why I'm popular. A lot of people forget, but they usually found us through what's called the Glitch in the Matrix. And it is a picture of this grid pattern around the earth that I took one day. I told no accident. It wasn't like I was out there like, hey, I'm going to catch a damn grid pattern today, you know? No, I just took a picture. I threw an infrared filter on. It just so happened that I caught the craziest grid pattern all around me. And I think the grid pattern that we're seeing is that sacred geometry of the earth. It's the space fence of space fences. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that personal space fence that you guys are talking about, that first person perspective, that that inner world of our world. Everyone gets their own. They get their own view of the sun, their own view of the moon, their own view of everything, their own personal heaven, you know what I'm saying? Or their own personal earth, whatever you want to call it. And I think that these frequencies can alter your personal existence. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I think that's what we're experiencing. I think that's what we're unlocking. Go ahead. Sorry.
So we're able, you know, you, me, Karen, Crow, Stan, Patricia, you know, we've busted through these frequencies. I wonder if the frequencies is keeping everybody asleep, except us that are maybe immune to it or something.
I don't know, dude. I'll tell you what, because I was once.
Just a thought.
I think you're onto something, because I was a sleepy dude, man.
We were all sleepy. We were.
Maybe we were on a different frequency.
I don't know. Because every time I discover something, someone else discovers it right then and there too. Like, what the hell? Like, we are in this hive mind thing. And I'm telling you, man.
I think you're right. I'm onto that. That's right.
And it's like, and me and my wife have gotten to the point now where, go ahead.
It might be collective thought energy, you know.
I buy that. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm all.
I mean, it's like Stan and Crow hooking up today. They've been working their own thing for a long time, but today was the day they hooked up, and hopefully some amazing stuff will come out of that.
Right. People call me the new Crow. I'm down with that. I'm all right with that. I like Crow, dude. I always have.
Cool.
I've always loved his work, and I'm glad that you guys have got his ass back off the bench. And I know you say he's still working, but
breaking up.
Oh, I said, I'm glad that you guys have him working again. And I know that you said that he's always been working, but I don't know, man. He felt like he disappeared, dude. And I really was depressed about that. Like, I really respect that guy's input and what he kicks into this truth community. And, you know, we got to keep each other, like, in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, everyone's so important, dude. You know. And I kick ideas back and forth with about 5 people, but I have a huge community that I keep in contact with because we have our own website. It's called forthewoke.com. We have our own social media section of it. It's like Facebook, except your mom, your grandmother, and your ratty-ass kids ain't on there. You know what I mean? Like, you can get and be whoever the hell you want to be because there are no judgment on there. And that's the great thing about it. Nobody's allowed to judge. The minute you judge, you get the boot. And the person you judged and you filed against, that person gets to decide when you come back. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's that much fun that when you get the boot, you're going to want to come back. Well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's it's hard sometimes because there's crazy theories getting kicked around on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's an example. Demon Hunter is big on Sky Dome Atlantis. Okay, have you guys heard of Sky Dome Atlantis?
Nah.
All right, Sky Dome Atlantis. It's really hard to chew and swallow.
Can I just say
Please.
something? I actually think we should probably like end the hangout really because you showed the link, so I think we should go. Sorry, Boogeyman.
Oh, okay. You got to leave?
Yeah, I think we should end because we showed the link and people are telling me now a message. I thought you did anyway, but I just don't want to be. Yeah,
What's
we just
wrong?
have to end. Sorry, we're ending abruptly,
Okay.
but yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Let's do it some other time.
But we can carry on. We carry on again. We just have to be careful showing the link. Anyway, mwah, to everybody, that was a really great hangout. But anyway,
Karen, are you okay?
Yeah, it was.
What happened with the link? What are they saying?
No, if
you showed the hangout link, but we're going to
She
go
just don't
now.
wanna get sniped,
Bye,
man.
everybody. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm a